Backgrounds as diverse as one could imagine, but one may win the Open today. Will it be Seve Ballesteros of Spain marching toward a possible Grand Slam of Masters, U.S. and British Opens, and the PGA? It brings memories of that other Grand Slam when Bobby Jones won the U.S. and British Amateur and Open titles in 1930. Or will it be Tom Watson, Kansas City's Tom Sawyer grown to manhood, trying to repeat as U.S. Open champion? Watson and Ballesteros, the two greatest players in the game today, are tied for the lead with 18 holes to play. The last Open champion to successfully defend was Ben Hogan. That was 32 years ago when he won at Oakland Hills. Or will it be Calvin Peete? No black golfer has ever won the Open, but he could do it today. The man who followed the migrant workers trail until discovering golf at age 23 is just one shot behind. Will it be the kid from Spain becoming the first of his country to hold the title? Or the defending champion, Mid-America's hero, Tom Watson? Or Cal Peete, Horatio Alger, 1980s version? Or will it be someone else? ABC Sports presents a national championship conducted by the United States Golf Association. Today from the Oakmont Country Club in Oakmont, Pennsylvania, it's the final round of the 83rd United States Open Championship. This ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by USF&G Insurance, protecting your business, your home, your auto, and your life through 6,500 independent agents across the USA. By GTE, advancing technology and telecommunications and electrical products. By the Associates, for business and personal financial services, our money's on you. And by Lincoln Mercury, offering a complete range of contemporary automobiles for 1983, from front-wheel drive cars to 3 distinct luxury models, everything from Lynx to Lincoln. Here's how they stand at this moment, about to tee off in just a couple of minutes. The leaders, Tom Watson and Seve Ballesteros. Cal Peete and Larry Nelson, you see nothing next to their names. That means that those last two groups of two have not teed off as yet. You see that Ray Floyd has played 1 hole, 1 over. Hal Sutton, 3 over after 1. Gil Morgan, 3 over after 1. That's the way the scoreboard works. Here, then, are some of the other leaders. Andy North, the former champion. Roger Maltby at 69 yesterday. David Graham, a former champion. Mike Nicolette, local boy makes good. The temperature, well, you see it there, and the other weather conditions, the most operative one again today. Chance of rain, 60%. At the moment, it's okay. Sun is shining from time to time. We may make it, and make it all right. There's already been one moment of drama in this championship. It happened a while ago when Arnold Palmer came up the 18th green. It could be the last time he walks up to 18 in the United States Open Championship. For several years now, he's been here by special invitation. That may not happen anymore. He might have to try to qualify next year, and he might not make it. So this could be adieu. On the golf course where he lost the playoff to the young Jack Nicklaus 21 years ago for this championship. And he still makes the skin tingle when he walks up 18. The man who caused a tremendous amount of interest in the game of golf. Now, this is Brad Faxon. He finished just a couple of minutes ago and will be the low amateur in this year's U.S. Open Championship. Brad, young man from Furman University, played on the Walker Cup team. You were over there just a couple of weeks ago, Dave. Now to the first tee. 469-yard par 4, and again today we'll be following the leaders every step of the way. All 18 holes until we determine the 1983 United States Open champion. Could be a tie, of course. If so, it'll be a playoff tomorrow, and we'll be here for that, but enough about that later on. It certainly would be better to determine a champion today, and there is David Fay.
The final round. The referee is Bill Campbell, president of the United States Golf Association from Huntington, West Virginia. The observer is Ed Marshall, a member of the USGA Executive Committee from Huntington Valley, Pennsylvania. The special observer is Ted Harker, a member of the Royal and Ancient Golf Club of St. Andrews, Scotland. The players are the defending National Open champion, Tom Watson, Kansas City, Missouri.
trying for those back-to-back opens. Greatest player in the world for the past 4 or 5 years.
And Severiano Ballesteros, Santander, Spain.
But those from Europe say, wait a minute, it isn't Watson any longer. Maybe it's this man. Maybe it's Seve Ballesteros.
Mr. Watson has the honor. Play away, please.
Talk about high drama on a golf course. Dave, you could not have more of a confrontation than this. The two greatest players in the game today, is that fair to say?
I would sure think so over the past number of years. And, of course, Seve is underrated, I feel, in this country. He feels like we call him lucky, but when you keep doing it, Jim, you're not lucky. You're just good. Maybe some of the people just don't want to admit it. But anyhow, here's the defender.
No comment needed.
That's a marvelous way to start. What a very difficult driving hole.
Bob Rosberg will be walking with that group as Seve steps up to tee off.
He hasn't changed his game plan either, Jim. He's going off with an iron. You won't see too many woods by this man. I play with people like this, but they don't play near as well as he does.
That's right. Okay, Seve's tee shot. And he's just caught the edge of the rough, but the lie does not look too bad. So, the final twosome of the day has gone off. It's going to be a long afternoon. It's going to be a fascinating one, and almost certainly an exciting one. I'm Jim McKay reporting from our anchor position high above the 18th green. A championship here that started at 7 o'clock last Thursday morning when Rodney Kimmel of the Adams Municipal Golf Club in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, became the first player in this year's U.S. Open. He isn't with us now. After rounds of 80 and 84, Rodney was on his way back to Oklahoma. But he has played in the Open, and since then, we have seen lightning and thunder and hailstones and rain. We have seen a great amount of wonderful golf. We have seen the golf course, however, very successfully defend itself against the onslaught. And now we're going to take him to the finish. Let's bring in Dave Marr, former PGA champion, and one hardly knows where to start with the stories.
Well, you've started a little bit there in the opening with Tom and Calvin and Seve, and it looked this way at Augusta with a number of good players that were up there, and Seve broke it open right away. I don't look for that to happen here because the golf course is right at the Masters. I don't look for that to happen here because Oakmont is a different golf course. If it's broken open, it will be because a player plays badly rather than another player playing well, I feel. But there are other stories. You got Raymond Floyd, who has never seriously challenged for U.S. Open. No reason for that. For 20 years, been one of our best players. You've got Hal Sutton, who's probably the best young player out here today, and second leading money winner for the year. He could even take that position over with a good finish here. Larry Nelson, not enough said about Larry Nelson. He's had a very poor year putting. Seems to have found it yesterday, and with that 65, shot the lowest round of the tournament by 3 strokes. That shows a lot about him. And there's any number of players, Jim, that come out of the pack.
No question about it. The golf course in a little faster condition, perhaps, than yesterday.
Well, it could be a little faster, and certainly the rain is not going to make the greens any slower. All they could do is maybe hold a little better. So we look at it there, the turnpike and the railroad tracks cutting through part of the golf course does not come into play, really. This is just a real fine golf course, loaded with tradition, Jim.
Sure is. Well, here is the first hole, 469-yard par 4, and it has been fearsome all through this week, but even more so today, it seems to me, of many of the groups, good groups, people who have been playing well, have had bogeys and double bogeys. This is Ray Floyd on the second green right now.
Putting downhill, in case you wondered why that was so fast. That was a very, very nice putt there.
Ray Floyd at 1 over par for the championship is 2 strokes off the lead. All right, and he's safely in. North Carolinian, who's never won the Open, as Dave said, never challenged seriously for it, and nobody knows why. Certainly he doesn't, because he's one of the best players in the world and has been for a long time. Cal Peet on the first green. He has had problems on this hole. He already lies 4 on the par 4 hole. Needs this putt for a bogey 5. He was bunkered.
Well, first of all, he drove it in the rough, which is unusual for Calvin because he far and away leads in the percentage of fairways hit, especially if you say it's with a wood. A again, just tells you, Oakmont, you must put the ball in the fairway.
A bogey 5 for Cal Pete drops him to 1 over for the championship. 2 strokes off the lead now, behind Watson, Ballesteros. So Larry Nelson is alone at even par of the competitors. Ballesteros now from the light rough on the right-hand side of the first green.
And from where he is the crest of a hill, Jim, and the hole, even though it measures in yardage 469, it is so much downhill it doesn't play near that long. Players this week have been hitting a lot of short irons. Now, his view, if you see the white post just to the left of the yellow object there behind the green, that's a directional flag because he cannot see the top of the flag. The way he's leaning, I'd say it's right.
There you see the ball just off the right side and into the heavier cut. That difference of about 3 inches there from the light cut can make a big difference to him.
It's a difference between 4 and 5 if you want to measure it usually.
David, that shot was from 215 yards. I just don't know if Seve, you know, he's played all week with an iron, but playing with Watson, I just wonder if it comes down to where it's head-to-head that he can keep on doing what he's done all week. It's going to be very, very difficult.
Bob, what was the mood of the 2 men before they teed off?
Well, very, very tense, I thought, for as well as I know them. There's one other question out here, too. They had to wait already on the first hole. Now, the pace of play, both these players play very quickly, and I just wonder if that's going to have something to do with it.
Okay.
About how long a shot did Tom have, Bob?
Well, he was 175 and hit an awful shot, way left.
Ooh.
I mean, that shot isn't even close.
It's down in the old zucchini patch. You can see the top of it.
It's a little easier shot than Seve's, I would think, Jim.
Okay, the leaders are underway, both in some trouble on the first hole.
You gotta reach deep inside.
We always run faster together. Maybe it's the baton. Maybe it's the way we push each other.
Bring out your best, Budweiser Light. Bring out your best, Budweiser Light.
The best. You found it in yourself, and now you found it in the beer you drink.
In investments, as in life, the only thing you can be certain of is change. At Merrill Lynch, our unsurpassed resources enable our account executives to guide you towards investments that best complement the times. It is this awareness of changing economic conditions and our expertise in responding to them that can help you reach your financial goals. Talk to a Merrill Lynch account executive and understand why we are Merrill Lynch, a breed apart.
All across the country, every day, USF&G insures you, your work, your home, your play.
The USF&G and the USA. USF&G insures your business, home, auto, and life. You'll find USF&G at 6,500 independent insurance agencies across the USA.
Protecting what you value and insuring your way. The USF&G and the USA.
Though in reality you can't hear them, different computers speak different languages, which has been known to create a communications problem. That's why more and more companies are hooking up to our international Telenet network. Telenet enables different types of computers to speak the same language.
Gee.
No, GTE.
I hope you will join me as a USGA associate. You will be helping the USGA perform its many services for the game. And you will also be better informed. You will receive Golf Journal, the official magazine of the USGA, for a full year. You will receive bag tag, rule book, and other benefits of the membership. But mainly, you will be giving something back to the game.
Tom Watson, defending champion, third shot, first hole. And rather lucky to find such a clean lie in that very heavy rough. And he's played a pretty good shot, but from that lie, I think Tom would have liked to have got it 5 or 6 feet closer. On the other hand, Ballesteros, I thought, was a little bit unlucky with his second shot. He went very boldly at the flag, And there, as you see, our roving announcers way out on the course. They'll be with us, keeping us informed as to all the little tidbits of information as they go around the course. Bob Rosberg with this match, Eddie Sneed with Calvin Peete and Larry Nelson, and Terry Deal with Gil Morgan and Ray Floyd. And I'm Peter Allis, and I'm delighted to be with you on this very, well, what promises to be a very exciting afternoon. Here's Ballesteros. You can see nestling right in the rough. It's a very tricky one. You'd hardly believe he could stop that short of the hole, really, because he seemed to play it fairly firmly. And now what two very important opening putts. But I don't think Seve will be too mad with himself, really, because he did go from the light rough where his tee shot finished very boldly at the flag. And as I say, it was a bit unlucky just to find that very thick rough, no more than 4 or 5 feet off the edge of the green. So both these players, both the leaders, starting out at 1 under, and both have quite longish putts for pars on this opening hole. And as we saw yesterday with that terrific round of Larry Nelson, he did 65 yesterday, which pulled him right up the leaderboard. All these names we're looking at now, perhaps as far down as, well, 6, 7 over par, maybe even 8 over par. If they were to do a 65 and the leaders were to stumble and fumble a little bit, and they get their score in early and post it up on the boards, we could see something quite dramatic happening. Jack Nicklaus, 13 over par, played 16 holes today. Not a good week for Jack. Here's young Seve. There's all the statistics. 25 years of age, 6 foot, a bachelor. And what a fair catch he would be. So now, Seve's first championship putt of the day. What is it, 12, 14 feet? And it's for a par. How'd you like that? That's not too bad a way to start the day, and it's all thrust and counter thrust, punch and counter punch. Well, Tom Watson, Bob, you and I were having a chat last night. He really did putt well, didn't he, yesterday?
He putted about as well as anybody I've ever seen on a championship National Open setup. He did not get the ball very close to the hole, but his touch was just amazing.
This is an important putt for him, Bob, isn't it? Especially having just seen Seve knock his in.
Well, it certainly is, especially the second shot he hit. It really was one of his poorer efforts.
So Watson, Tom Watson, defending champion, with this for a par 4 at the first hole. And how'd you like that as well? Take that. Have at thee, Sir Percy. Well, well, well. What a start.
My goodness, it's really going to be something. That's why we say they're the 2 best in the world. Let's check in now on camera for a minute with our colleague Jack Whitaker with Peter.
Thank you very much, Jim. With me is Peter Allis, our British colleague, owner of more than 20 European golf titles, and a man on the Ryder Cup team for Great Britain who had some storied battles with Arnold Palmer.
Indeed, and Arnold and I are celebrating our 20th anniversary this year. We played at East Lake, 1963, and we'd come off a tied game at Royal Lytham and St Anne's in 61, and we played at East Lake, lovely course, and we had a rare old battle. I'm too modest to tell you who won, Jack, but Arnold lost.
And now we're about to see, or we've already seen, but Seve Ballesteros, a European, is really on the threshold of super golf stardom.
Yes, I think it's nice to see the U.S. Open becoming much more of an international field. Those of us that have followed golf for a long time have known that the Masters has always, through their invitational system, had some players from all around the world, but not all that many were able to play, able to qualify for this championship, which I always thought was a little bit of a pity. I think it's great to see these various names, the flags of many nations fluttering proudly over the scoreboard there. I think if Ballesteros wins, although he's recognized throughout the world as a master player, a conjurer, a magician, a genius, it will elevate him to enormous stature should he win. That's why looking at the leaderboard, it's so fascinating to me, because all those names have something to prove, or they want to prove something, and the whole day should be quite magical.
Well, win or lose, Seve has certainly shown all of us that he can indeed play a United States Open golf course. Let's go back to that golf course.
Thank you, Jack. And there's The tall figure there in the white hat of Bill Campbell, the president of the USGA in the background there, and one of the greatest amateur players the United States certainly ever produced. A little plan of the second hole, only 343 yards, but look at all those bunkers. Great feature of this course, sloping fairways, blind second shots, rolling hills, rolling ground, thick rough, and there's the green nestling down at the bottom, and in the background there are hundreds of cars that are here. Records have been broken all week with spectators, numbers of spectators. There's the fairway, very narrow driving area, about 21, 22 yards approximately at the, and the further you go, sometimes the narrower it gets, so there's really no premium on being a big hitter here. Little bit of breeze. You saw Tom just looking up at the trees there, just seeing if there's a little bit of movement. It's meanwhile up ahead, Larry Nelson for a birdie. Just look at the speed of this ball. Look at it. It seemed to accelerate when it got within 4 feet of the hole, and it still goes on. Watson's tee shot at the second. Just trying to place it in the fairway. And safely done. That's Seve. And what two marvellous putts they held on the first. First Seve, and then even more courageously Tom Watson, continuing the magical putting he showed us yesterday. Seve sticking with an iron again.
Very, very short, Peter. It almost looked like he was probably hit a 5-iron or something like that. It's really pretty good to be back at this hole, though. You're able to spin the ball a little better and stop it up there at the hole.
Yes, I did look at the club selection at this hole that Seve's been using all week, and in fact, he's been between a 4 and a 5 each time, Bob. So there's some more scores there. The score on the right-hand side is the number of holes they have played. So at the third hole, Hal Sutton, they're 4 over. Calvin Pete not starting the day well. That long putt was for a par. He bogeyed the first hole, held a good putt on the first, about a 4-footer for a bogey 5. And he's certainly going to drop another stroke here at the second. So not getting away to the good, solid start that he wanted. But he's a very courageous fella. Larry Nelson now surveying his. Well, it's getting on for 6 feet. This for his par. 65 yesterday, pulled him right up the leaderboard. Yes, well done. Remains at even par. There's 16 more to go, Larry. Now Cal Pete for a 1 over par 5. And really at this hole, which is just 343 yards, you really don't want to be taking 5s. Up the 18th, though, at the other end of the course, Jack Nicklaus coming up to a very warm reception indeed. 14 over par for the championship rounds of 73, 74, 78. Not one to offer any excuses for his weak play this week. In 2 or 3 weeks' time, he'll be over in England playing in the championship at Royal Birkdale in Lancashire. And who knows, that may be a much better week for Jack. We'll be able to follow his fortunes and many other great world stars on ABC in a few weeks' time. And we'll be showing you live coverage of the championship from Birkdale. Jack repairing that pitch mark like all good golfers should. But back to the main meal of the day. Second fairway, Tom Watson, second shot.
Shot of 125 yards.
Well, that's more like it. And recorded just moments before Tom, Seve Ballesteros' second shot. And boldly at the flag again. Pretty good shot because, as Bob was saying, he was way back. Well, they're on the second green. Lots more to go. It's going to be a sparkling afternoon's golf here at the US Open.
That rotating mirrored ball might have been the inspiration for a remarkable breakthrough at Xerox. You see, by aiming a laser beam at rotating mirrors, you can disperse it and use it to create the image of an entire page in a split second. And that makes electronic printing possible. People at Xerox tell me electronic printing is growing as fast as the copier did in the 60s. Isn't it nice to know Xerox invented them both? I know. You're saying, what kind of company is this Xerox? Ideas in dance halls? One of their scientists said, a great idea doesn't just fall into your lap. She said, you've got to go out and look for it.
Even if it means every once in a while, you may have to go dancing.
To create, reproduce, preserve, and share information around the office and around the world. From Xerox.
Sunday, Charles Bronson in a desperate race to stop a deadly phone call. Telephone.
Men, we're going to live off the land. It's going to be rough. Either you pitch in or shape up.
When you're far from home, you can't beat a Honda portable generator. You get 600 watts of power when you're nowhere near an electrical outlet.
Commander Fred, can we come in?
Hold it, men! I'll be right out.
The Honda portable generators. For camping, hunting, boating, even charging your car battery.
A ranger never takes the easy way out.
You're reaching deep inside you for things you've never known.
Go! That's why getting into the Rangers is tough, and the training is tough.
Be all that you can be.
So it makes me feel like I'm part of something really special.
Be all that you can be.
And I'm not the only one.
You can do it in the Army.
The Jeffersons, tomorrow at 5.
Larry Nelson right there, one shot behind. Then Floyd up ahead of them. Cal Pete bogeying the first two holes. Gil Morgan at 3 over. Ballesteros then putting for a birdie, putting for a par now. He's already made the birdie attempt. This is for a par on the second hole to stay at 1 under. All right. In his country, they would say mano a mano, a hand-to-hand struggle with Tom Watson. Who's the king of the hill, Watson might say. So Ballesteros had the par on the second. Jack Nicklaus has just finished up, and our first word from the 18th green is that he had a 75 today, and up 15 over par.
Tough little putt here, Jim, that Tom has. Should be a pretty good break from right to left.
And there it is. A birdie for Tom Watson. He goes to 2 under par and takes the lead in the U.S. Open. In trouble on the first hole, both he and Ballesteros hold very difficult par putts. Oakmont. The golf course itself has been almost as much the talk of the town this week as has the play of Watson and Ballesteros. Let's look at it. Oakmont, Pennsylvania, outside Pittsburgh. There you see the turnpike and the railroad bisecting the course. They play the first hole, then go across a footbridge and play the next 7, then back across the same footbridge for the rest. Now, bunkers everywhere, 178 of them. The church pews, the best known, comes into play on both the 3rd and 4th holes on the left side of each one. The dreaded church pews. And the rough, well, This is USGA rough, as the players like to call it. You see how the ball goes down in there. Some places 6 inches long and can be truly impossible to play out. Now, they not only cut the greens very close here, but after they've cut them, they take this roller and roll it down and push it down and get it just as short as they can, and they have bricks in there, a whole load of bricks to make sure that happens. The result, greens so slick, so hard, so fast that this can happen. You saw that ball just a few inches from going into the hole. Watch where it ends up. Tom Watson, having taken the lead, is about to tee off on the 3rd hole, par 4. Dave, we had a little trouble with your mic a minute ago. Let's see if you're there now.
Well, yeah,
yes, there you are. Welcome back. In the rough. Rossi, how's it look?
Well, it's not really too bad. It's in the short rough, but very long drive. He's only got 135, 140 yards. Hit it very well.
And that hole is 425 yards long.
Rossi, Sevy's going with an iron.
Well, there's one advantage that I see, David. If Sevy can keep putting the pressure on Tom, he's going to be shooting first every hole.
Wasn't Walter Hagen supposed to have used that technique in match play?
I never saw Walter play, but I guess that's the idea. But if he can keep hitting it like that with that 1 iron, I think he ought to stay with it.
Okay. Smack straight down the middle. Seve Ballesteros. So Watson has made the first move.
Well, a big thing. They both made par at the first hole after having to make 8 or 10-foot putts there. That's got to really help you. Of course, here's a very cool little man moments ago.
Playing the same hole, the 3rd, his 2nd shot on the hole. Larry Nelson at even par, now 2 shots behind Watson, 1 behind Ballesteros. Well, that's the way he was throwing them up there yesterday when he shot 65.
Got a new little idea on his putting, which seems to have helped him. We'll get to in a minute.
Down below, Jack Whitaker with Jack Nicklaus.
Well, Jack, the way the crowd reacted coming up here, you might have thought you were leading this tournament.
That was very nice, Jack. But I didn't play very well, so it was very nice, the crowd here.
I know it's a little early to ask you this, and you're tired and all, but will this diminish in any way? You're wanting to win one more major anyway?
No, Jack, I won't diminish anything. No, my play this week was kind of unusual. I'm going along, and Hubert happened to mention to me as we're going up the 11th hole that he hit the green from the rough, just a short collar there, and I started thinking about it, and I went through the whole golf course, and I had yet to hit a green from the rough.
My goodness.
So, and you're going to hit the ball in the rough here, and it so happened I went right down the next hole, the par 5, and hit my 2nd shot just in the edge of the rough, and I chipped it up and stopped on the green. So I hit the ball on the green out of the rough 1 time this week. Now, you've got to recover some, and I wasn't able to do that, and I just wasn't very good. But there's some other fellas that are playing well, so I guess it's the golf course's not fault.
It's onward and upward to Royal Birkdale and on and on. Huh?
Yeah, oh, sure.
Good, Jack. Thanks very much.
Okay, Jack.
Back to you, Jim.
As if it could be any other way with Jack Nicklaus.
Let's don't count that man out yet. And, of course, for today, let's don't count this little fella out right here. He is a very cool player, Jim. He
we saw him win the PGA.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't show much emotion and so forth, but he's got a new idea of putting where he doesn't ground his putter. He holds it above the ground. Must be working all right.
Huh? Larry Nelson moving into a tie with Ballesteros, 1 shot behind Tom Watson. As you said yesterday, he has not been putting well all year until now, and this new thing of keeping the club off the ground is to prevent what?
Well, I feel that helps smooth your stroke out. I know it does. A lot of times people will snag their putter going back, and usually that's because you're leaning on your putter. It's a good tip for people at home to try. Something Nicklaus does throughout his game, as we watch Calvin putt for a par here, and he needs to make one to get going. This is very unusual for Calvin to get off to such a bad start.
Okay, his first par of the day after 2 bogeys. Cal Pete staying at 2 over par. He's 4 shots out of the lead now. He started 1 out of the lead. It can happen that quickly around here. And the way he throws them up there, he can get them back that quickly sometimes.
Well, you have to think, Jim, that the other players are going to make bogeys too. This is just too hard a golf course. So don't, simply because you bogey the first 2 holes, hey, it's going to happen to other people. My birdies may come late, and that's when I'd like to have them anyhow.
Patience. Seve giving it a bit of the Arnold Palmer lean. At times he does remind you of Arnold with that lean and the way he walks fast, charging down the fairway, way, way on the front of the green. That's going to be an interesting line to figure out. There, you see where Tom Watson's shot is. About 290, the computer says. 140 the hole.
It's a good angle to come into the hole, and so much depends on that line in the rough there, which looks good from here. Rossi, did you have a chance to look at it?
Yes, it's a perfect lie for in the rough, Dave. It's a kind of lie that he's just hitting a 9-iron and he'll just throw it up in the air. Like you say, it's at a good angle. He's got it going right at it.
You see the big directional pole there that showing him the line to the green as being a blind shot.
But today the flag is on the left side of that pole. Yes.
And he's way on the front of the green also. You see it there. So the leaders are approaching the 3rd green in the final round of the U.S. Open.
The good things in life don't always come easy. They take planning, hard work, courage, and money. And that's when the people at the Associates can help. They give your family credit to build, to learn, to go places. You've got the will, our people know the ways, like home equity financing. When you need financial services, talk to the Associates. Our money's on you.
When Seiko in Tokyo sends executives overseas, they're given Citicorp traveler's checks.
Try on?
Because who knows where they might end up.
10 gallon. 5 gallon? Citicorp traveler check, okay?
Sure, okay.
Accepted round the world. Refunds in thousands of locations.
For my granddaughter. Howdy, partner.
Because you never know where you might end up. Citicorp traveler's checks.
Knowing the rules of golf is important to me, and not only because not knowing them could cost me money. It's important for all golfers to know the rules and apply them. That's why the United States Golf Association is in the process of reorganizing and simplifying the rules of golf in cooperation with the Royal and Ancient Golf Club of St Andrews, Scotland. It will be easier for all golfers to know and understand the rules. The rules of golf are being thoroughly reviewed by the rules committees of both the R&A and the USGA. A new rule book will be effective next January in this country and in April throughout the rest of the world. The USGA enforces the rules of golf and the rules of amateur status to make the game fair for all players. Writing the rules of golf is just one of the services of the USGA, which is working hard to protect the future of the game.
The preceding message was brought to you by the United States Golf Association.
Welcome back to Oakmont in the final round of the 1983 United States Open Golf Championship. There's our leaderboard as Tom Watson has again taken a 1-stroke lead over Seve Ballesteros, Larry Nelson. The hottest man right now is Craig Stadler, who we understand is 4 under on the day. He's still 6 over on the tournament, but he's birdied 5 out of the last 6 holes. The sun at the moment pushing through the clouds as we look at the 3rd green.
Go.
I thought he gave that a right smart rap, David, didn't you? Well, he had to. He's far enough away, and he is a bold putter. He's a bold player, period. And it didn't move to the right quite as much as Seve was looking for. But he leaves himself one to worry about there. Maybe he just doesn't worry as much as I do about that kind of thing. How do you worry in Spanish? Yeah, maybe that's it, huh? It's like mañana. Oh. Watson, Ballesteros, Nelson. And there are the others working their way. And there's Craig Stadler now moving up. Started the day at +10. Our cameras at the moment are all on the other side of the Pennsylvania Turnpike, and as soon as we can get them over, we'll
pick up Craig Stadler for you. Since the leaders are all on this side of the turnpike. There's a big green, David, isn't it?
Well, there are many of them here are big, and of course this is one of the biggest.
Look at this.
Look at this.
Hello. Did that ball go in the cup, or did the caddy catch it?
It went in the cup, because if the caddy caught it, I'm sure Tom would be all over it. That puts a lot more pressure on Sevy's putt now.
Oh, doesn't it just? There's the Watson smile. 3 under par for the tournament. Now Sevy has this for par. Has lengthened a bit. Yes, that's tough. Gallant putt. That's good right there. That keeps them right in touch now.
And so they move on to the next hole. Ray Floyd still very much in this championship, of course. Ray at 1 over par. He's in 4th place at the moment behind Watson, Ballesteros, and Nelson. He's had 2 careers, really. His early one and his more recent one. Bob Rosberg knows about both. He's got a little story for us.
I not only played with Raymond Floyd, but I traveled with him and I lived with him. And I really got to know what he was all about. He had a tremendous amount of talent and loved life. And he was a wild kid. I think I helped him a little, helped calm him down. But you have to remember, here was somebody who won his first tournament at the age of 20.
I'd come from a small southern town, and I was completely in awe of my surroundings playing golf. You know, I was in awe of being in Los Angeles and New York and Miami and all the major cities. And it took me a long time to adjust. I think winning the first tournament, you know, at such an early age, I really didn't know how to handle it. I got involved with the surroundings.
Sanders and I, we used to travel together, so Raymond came right along with us, and, you know, we taught him the finer things in life, wine, women, and song.
Raymond became one of my trainers. I tell you, he whipped me. He showed me the nightlife and the morning life, and I never did quite believe how he could get out there on that tour and play as good as he did.
You know, I was always the confirmed bachelor. I never thought that I could ever meet a woman that stimulated me mentally. And I didn't have good rapport with women. All my friends were men. I didn't have any women friends. And I met Maria, and she was so different from every woman I had ever met previously. She immediately was a challenge for me.
I think when he finally decided that he was ready to get married and met someone that he thought that he could spend the rest of his life with, I think that was the catalyst in making him change. That in itself. As long as he was Ray Floyd, the eligible bachelor, he had to do all of those things that went with being a bachelor. And he did them very well. Like he plays golf very well now, but his priorities are different. They're in reversed order.
She sat me down and said, look, if you don't want to play golf, that's fine with me. You're young enough. You can start a new career. Go find something else. But whatever it be, give it 100% and try to excel and be the best. You're wasting your life.
Raymond won the 1976 Masters. Last year, he won his second PGA championship. He has reached the plateau that so many of his peers thought he could, but few ever thought he would. The position in the world of golf that Maria convinced him he was capable of attaining. His beautiful home in Florida, now living the family life he at one time didn't know existed.
Good shot, Rob. He might make eagle on that hole.
This is the Ray Floyd that I like, Bob. This is the life. I really can look back and can't imagine how I accepted the other. But I think that other has made me appreciate this much, much more. And it's made me very aware. And I have to say that I was very fortunate to come into the situation I'm in now.
Ray Floyd. Very nice story for this Father's Day of 1983. Truly a changed man, and for the better. Back to you, Jack.
Thank you, Jim. This is Larry Nelson. It's the par 5 fourth and the third shot. And that'll be quite a distance away. Look at the venerable clubhouse as the leaderboard shows you Tom Watson with a 2-stroke lead at the moment over Ballesteros and Larry Nelson. With Raymond Floyd behind them, Calvin Pete, Hal Sutton. There's 5 shots between Sutton and Watson. So the weather still holds off here, a little threatening, but no rain as yet, and we hope it keeps that way for this tremendous final we'll be showing you.
In the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics, every athlete will be running at the speed of light, thanks to a lightwave communication system developed by Western Electric and Bell Labs. It converts voice, data, and images into light impulses carried over glass fibers. Who will help bring the Olympics to every corner of the globe, including the corner of your living room? We will. We're Western Electric, working with your phone company to bring the information age home to you.
When America wanted a high-performance radial that could handle wet weather, Goodyear came through with the Eagle GT.
I've got Goodyear. I'm riding on #1.
The high-performance Eagle GT. One good reason why Goodyear outsells all the foreign radials combined.
I've got Goodyear. I'm riding on #1. I've got Goodyear. I'm riding on #1.
When you buy a dozen new Top Flights or Top Flight XLs, you get something extra, distance. Because T.G. Green, Top Flight, and the higher-flying Top Flight XL are the longest balls. And now they're the longest dozen, too. That's because the new Top Flight bonus pack makes your money go further. While supplies last, you get an extra 3 free balls with the Top Flight bonus pack. 3 free balls. The longest balls are now the longest dozen.
A diamond, a miracle. Every diamond is rare, but a diamond of a carat or more is only 1 in a million. And like love, becomes more precious with time. The diamond solitaire, born from the earth, reborn on a woman. An extraordinary diamond of a carat or more. Show the world you couldn't have made it without her.
And there's the Open leaderboard. Tom Watson now 2 ahead. And in the background there, Ray Floyd just missed the green. 3rd shot at the 5th hole, and look at it going backwards from the pin. Would you believe it? A lot of these greens are television cameras, of course, being 2-dimensional. It doesn't really show the fall and the swing and the borrow. It's quite extraordinary how the ball sometimes runs away. Larry Nelson for a par, yes, safely done. It's another par, 4th. He remains 1 under, tied with Seve, just 2 strokes behind the defending champion, Tom Watson. And it's raining in Pittsburgh, not a million miles from where we are. It's, they tell me it's even delayed the big baseball match there this afternoon. Now, I know they stop play when it's raining at the game of cricket. I didn't think they did that at baseball, but I guess the games are reasonably similar, believe it or not. Now then, Mr. Watson has, as you can see, missed the fairway here on this very difficult par 5 4th hole. He's got to pick his spot and drive over the, fire it over the top of that hill, blind shot. But he's got a little wood out. He's got some sort of 5-wood, baffler, cruncher, old gentleman's persuader, call it what you will, and he's going to try and force it through there.
Peter, he's got a beautiful lie.
Has he made good contact, Bob?
Yeah, it's to the left, but he did make good contact. Might be in the left-hand bunker. It's in the rough.
Just short, it's okay. Well, you're a little bit fortunate there, Bob, to get a lie that he could hit it as cleanly as that.
Well, it was kind of, you know, very openish, I guess you might call it, because he was in the deep rough and had a beautiful lie, and Seve, who just caught the rough in the first cut, does not have near as good a lie as Tom had.
Now, Seve, you can see he's only just 7 or 8 feet off the fairway. This is a par 5, of course, and he's just
See, he had to lay up. He just really laid up with a very, very lofted club.
And again, he's just missed the fairway, but that seems to be sitting up, and he's what, 100 yards or so from the flag, but a difficult shot. He's got to come over the top of that bunker, and the flag, well, it's fairly close to that side of the green. Meanwhile, up ahead, Raymond Floyd with a long putt for his par. Very important, really, for Raymond to get this one in if he can. He doesn't want to drop any more behind Tom Watson. Up the slope and on and on and on and on. It was a good touch. Just didn't have the pace to carry it into the hole. So Ray Floyd drops the stroke at the 5th and goes to 2 over, tied with Calvin Peete and Hal Sutton. I was just looking at the scoring sheets, and there's been over 370 rounds played up until this morning on this course in this championship, and only 28 scores of 71 or better. That shows the severity of this course, and I think almost one hesitates to say it, a false par of 71. I think 72 really would be a much fairer figure. 71 is a pretty tough number indeed when the course measures almost 7,000 yards, and with this rough and narrowness of fairways and amount of bunkers, it really is a great test, very difficult test. There's Seve just off the fairway, and not the easiest of shots. He's made a good solid start, hold a good putt on the first for his par, a couple of other pars, and now this 5th hole looking for a birdie. 3rd shot. He's really boomed that right up in the air, trying to make it land softly, and he has done just that. That's a great shot. And he's mad that it's gone 15 or 16 feet past the pin. You almost get the feeling that he's trying to drop it right in the hole sometimes. Up. I send it up, then he comes down. He really is a great character, Seve. Good sense of humor. And of course his English has improved so dramatically over the last 18 months, I suppose. In golfing handicap terms, his English now must be about 12 or 13. Larry Nelson. Let's hear from Ed Sneed, who's been following this match between Calvin Peete and Larry Nelson. Eddie?
Peter, Larry's played very, very well. He really hasn't missed a golf shot. He's hit all the fairways, and he's hit the greens, and he's got about 170 yards here. I would guess he's probably going to use about a 7-iron. It's a downhill shot. It's right on line. It's going to be a little short, though.
And back off the slope it goes. Just that little ridge stopped the ball getting very close to the hole. Cal Peete seems to have settled down too, Eddie, has he?
Well, he got off to a bad start on the 2nd hole. And when he hit the ball in the rough, he had some difficulty, but he has settled down.
Now then, here's Tom Watson's shot, and that's the stroke really of a masterful golfer. That really is quite brilliant. He looks so cool and calm, doesn't he, these days? And that almost angelic smile. Great shot he played there. And it looks as if he may well go to 4 under. Very short putt, Tom Watson, to go 4 under. Ballesteros and Nelson at 1 under. And Ray Floyd, Peete making that weak start. And nobody really attacking the course except Tom Watson. So nobody making a run from behind except as Jim was saying, Craig Stadler's had a fantastic run. He had 5 birdies almost in a row in 6 holes, starting at the 10th. But Craig was a little too far back, really, to challenge for the championship. Now back to the 4th hole, 561 yards this 4th. And Seve surveying this putt for a birdie. He knows that he's got to somehow or other get a putt or 2 in. All you can do is try and pick the right line and get the right strength and hope you make a good swing at it. Because we saw Hal Sutton last night finishing up with a putt that almost disappeared into the hole and somehow it horseshoed out again. Some of the best struck putts don't always go in. Seve with that slightly altered stance. He's crouching over it a little bit more than he used to. Toe of the putter just a touch in the air. Just gives it a little tap at the hole. Has he got the speed and the line? Not bad. Isn't he quite remarkable? It almost wriggled away. Look at that look in the eye. I show you I can play. He really has enormous talent. Puff and a puff. Just look at that again. He hardly seemed to hit it hard enough. It looked to be going quite slowly. Then it looks as if it's drifting away to the right, and I thought it was going to catch the edge and not go in. But it did. This is classic, almost match play stuff between Ballesteros and Tom Watson. Tom, having played a beautiful pitch, has this shortish putt. There it is. For this to go 4 under. Oh, it's great stuff. Marvelous stuff indeed. 3 birdies in 4 holes for Tom Watson, having played a poor second to the first, not the best of chips, hold a 12, 13-foot putt, and now 4 under. 6th hole, Ray Floyd coming out of the bunker. The 6th hole, long, short hole, just over 200 yards. That's Raymond's second shot, so well, we can almost give him a par 3 there. Floyd, though, 2 over par. Now 6 strokes behind Tom Watson. Now Raym not wasting any time. It's going to tap this little putt in and secures his par 3. There's the 5th hole. Green away in the distance, and down below us, the teeing ground. Wonderful crowds again here today, colourful crowds, enjoying, well, feast of good play. 379 yards this hole. Tom Watson, there you see, using an iron, and he's okay. Seve. Very wide, rhythmical swing. Places his feet. Sometimes he gives it an extra waggle. No, not this time. Back and sweeps it away. Has he pushed that one? How's that going, Bob?
Yes, this is way right, almost into the hazard. It's a dry hazard, however, but it's not in good shape. He's going to have a very, very difficult shot left.
Well, that's not a good shot from Seve. Let's have a look at slow motion. David, have a look through this. What do you think of Tom's swing?
Well, of course, we've seen Tom swing a lot of times. He's a little faster than a lot of people, but he looks in such good position there. Nice straight left arm, extension down, good balance when he swings. The thing you want to watch at and watch it, look at that. Look at that leg movement there. Now watch as he starts down. The first thing that will move, left heel down, great position. From there, folks, all you've got to do is keep moving through the ball to the finish that you want. Look at that right heel position there. That's just great. Nice full finish. We'll take a look at Seve, see maybe what got his little push there. I thought, Peter, he's standing a little crouched more than usual today as I watch him. Anyhow, much the same as Tom. All good players do things much the same. All right, Seve's away from the ball. Again, so much the same. Left knee pointed behind the ball. We move as he starts down. The weight comes back. Now, the area to watch is right here. Okay, if he moves out of the way too fast, it's going to leave the club open for him. In this case, we'll see as it gets down to impact. Yes, he's didn't stay in position long enough, and you can see him come up and off the ball, which leaves your club face open. Ball goes to the right.
Larry Nelson putting on the fifth. This is putt for birdie 3. Looking good. Perfect length. Remember Larry Nelson, Dave? Do you remember a couple of years ago in the Ryder Cup match that you captained at Walton Heath, how well he played? Here's the pro shop, though. Look, they're throwing buckets of iced water on the tills there. They're taking so much loot.
He's a very cool customer, as you say, about the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, he really was one of the strong fellas, of the many strong fellas you had on your side that
Well,
year.
he's 9-0 for the matches, and I don't believe anyone's ever done that, Peter, or won that many at least.
Yeah, so
he's tough.
He's tough, and well, this is tough too. Bob?
Peter, the lie is really not too bad. I've seen a lot worse, and he did avoid going in the hazard. Now, the only thing that would have been a little more difficult if he were in the hazard, that he could not ground his club. But he does have a shot, and since the pin is so far back on this hole, if he could choose the right club, the ball is going to come out shooting, and the pin is 50, 60, 70 feet deep on this hole, so there are a lot of things going for him. He could, you know, if the pin were up front, he'd have no shot at all.
And of course the hole only measures what, 379 yards, so it's no problem with getting the distance.
Well, he's got about 165. He really hit a very, very weak iron off the tee. He's probably 165, somewhere in that area.
Well, now Seve's coming from the top of the hill, as Bob was saying, a lot of green to play with, and well, he really doesn't want to drop a shot here. Iron from the tee for safety, and to miss the fairway, really almost criminal.
It's a beautiful looking shot, Peter. You can see it take off, though, but I tell you, if he's got any kind of a lie, that's probably the best place he could put it.
Just gone just in the rough there. Deep, looks to be pretty deep, but we'll have to wait and see. He was going right at it. Tom Watson, really, after that, what looks as if it's going to be a shaky first hole, has really hit the ball crisply, beautifully.
Another pretty shot just to the right of the hole.
Yes, a pretty shot indeed, and the defending champion 2 strokes ahead of Seve. This the third round of this year's Open.
Watch as a system developed by Allegheny International helps create a microprocessor chip. Extreme temperatures, exotic gases and chemicals act upon a silicon surface to form as many as 1 million electronic components on a single chip, no bigger than this. Allegheny International systems help make more chips than any other system in the world. At Allegheny International, we have special skills for special needs.
You can open up your world and make it shine. You can do it. You can squeeze that extra something out of life. Yes, you can. You can set a goal and do it. Add your own style to it. It's your world. It's your life. It's your time. Every minute you can do it. Every day. Yes, you can. You can grow in your own way. You can do it. And we like to help.
Visa. I'd feel really good about buying an American car if I felt it were as good as a foreign car.
You don't build a new car like Topaz overnight. Not when you've taken as many new and different approaches as we did. Getting the most out of the front-wheel drive required designing, planning, testing, retesting. A lot of thought went into power, acceleration.
I expect the car to respond to my actions instantly.
That's why we built a high-swirl combustion engine.
Lap on your own. We're through with the test. Bye-bye. I'm going to ring it out.
I want a quality of construction.
From the suspension to the roof, things had to work together. If they didn't, we weren't going to bring it out.
After 5 years, over $1 billion, and 1 million miles of testing, Mercury proudly presents Topaz. The 1984 Mercury Topaz, a more enlightened approach.
Welcome back to Oakmont in this final round of the United States Open and the travails of Seve Ballesteros at the moment. In deep rough here. Did you get a look at it, Rossi? Is it?
It's a terrible lie, Jack. This is the one thing that I'm not sure about it in the Open. They've taken chipping sort of out of the game.
Oh, my.
Not too bad, though, is it?
Except for Seve.
Except for Ballesteros.
My Lord, wouldn't that have been something? It's probably too early to say, but it almost looks, Dave Marr, that Watson's trying to do to Seve what Seve did to him in the Masters.
And as I said at the top of the show, I didn't feel that players would do that to this particular course. Of course, when you have 4 putts the first 4 holes, it do help your score a little bit.
It does, doesn't it, huh?
And he has another chance here for birdie, of course. And when he gets going, Jack.
Oh, I know.
I mean, he might just run the table on you.
Well, Mike Lubick of the New York Daily News said Tom Watson putts. He reminds of how we all putted when we were little boys before we realized how difficult it was. The king of the 4-footers.
Well, anytime you're a great player, you make those, Jack. Think how many Nicklaus's made that we've watched through the years.
Some of the other scores. As we look down at the leader and defending champion. That's so typical, isn't it, of a Oakmont green, that little move. As we move up now to the 8th hole, this is a 250-yard par 3 going along the Pennsylvania Turnpike. Hal Sutton.
Hitting a wood today, Jack. Yesterday, if you remember, they're hitting 2 irons here. Move the tee back today.
And into that tremendous bunker on the left side, and there's a shot he has. Watson for par at the 6. Now Ballesteros, who almost hold a chip shot out from that immensely deep rough.
These two are very similar, Jack, in the way they putt. They both very firm putters usually, but with almost the same type putter. Very bold and very good.
Yes, well, he salvaged a pretty good par from the places he found himself there, and they move up to the next tee. Watson with a 2-stroke lead over Ballesteros. And now Larry Nelson in 3rd place at 1 under for a birdie. Yes, indeed. And he joins Ballesteros at 2 under. And what a shot that must have been.
It's a great par 3 there. We'll see them play in just a moment. But this young man is, I cannot tell you how tough he is. He's like a baby-faced chicken killer, Jack. You don't know what's happened to you, and he is really tough.
Here is the 6th hole, a par 3, a little downhill. And you can see it's almost an island green. with all that sand. .201, 185, 228, and 250 are the par threes here.
That's a good spread. I don't know, as Peter said yesterday, a lot of the par threes that you think about are really short ones, but as long as you have a little variety. I hate to play a course where the par threes are all the same length. Here, you're going to run. The idea of a golf course, anyhow, let's run through the bag. Let's try to make a player use every club in his or her bag.
Now you'll get an idea of the height of the tee there in regards to the green and all that sand. There's more sand there than there are New Hampshire beaches, I think, huh?
When you're playing well, though, you don't see the sand. You really don't. Jack, you envision the shot in your mind that you're trying to play. I mean, this is where all the hours of practice that you've gone through, you let your ability take over. If you start worrying about the sand, by and large, that's where you'll put it. Have you noticed that in your game, Jack?
I've noticed it. I empty my shoes a lot after.
Well, Tom must be pretty loose now.
Yeah, he's smiling away, cracking jokes. I guess they've been hitting like 5 and 6 irons here. As we watch Raymond Floyd now. This is a birdie attempt for Raymond. Quite a bit of length, but ooh.
Well, he needs to get something going after.
He's +2.
Here.
All of a sudden, +2, though, is 6 shots behind the leader.
I really feel that's sort of unexpected. I didn't look for any of the leaders to jump out quite like that. Of course, you're talking about Watson and Ballesteros and Larry Nelson. In the middle of a hot streak. He hadn't stopped since yesterday morning.
Born-again putter. Oh, he is really putting beautiful. All right, the leader. Oh, my goodness. This was on videotape. It happened just a few moments ago, and we almost had some real heroics.
That puts the pressure on Seve now.
Oh, wasn't that nice? Well, he gets one back. A little bad break perhaps earlier on, and now that one. But Watson, he's really showing, Watson's really showing him something, isn't he?
He sure is, Jack.
All right. Here's the leaderboard as Watson holds that 2-stroke lead.
Well, perhaps you haven't been with us all the way. Let's get you up to date on what has been going on here. It started out with quite a number of people with a chance to win this championship. At the moment, it's showing at least the first signs of possibly turning into a 3-way struggle among Tom Watson, Seve Ballesteros, and Larry Nelson. As to what's happened to the others, Cal Peete has lost 2 shots to par. Ray Floyd has lost 1 shot to par. Hal Sutton has gained 2 shots on par. He's moved back into contention. Seve Ballesteros has gained 1 shot against par. Larry Nelson has gained 2 shots against par. But Tom Watson has gained 3 shots against par, and that's why he's the leader of the championship. Now, both he and Ballesteros had difficult par putts on the first. They both made them, mano a mano. On the second hole, however, Watson had this for a birdie, and he made it and took the lead. On they went to the third hole, and Watson, after looking tense before he teed off, according to Bob Rosberg, seems to be getting looser and looser as the birdies come along. He moved to the third hole, had this longish putt, quite a long putt. Rio Watson stuff. Almost never leaves it short. The caddy, Bruce Edwards, picking it out of the hole as soon as it hit bottom. So it was 2 in a row, and on they moved to the par 5 fourth hole. This may be the best shot hit so far today that we have seen. Had to get up over a bunker and stop the ball very quickly on these greens. That's almost impossible. But look what he did. Watson then made that putt for his 3rd birdie in a row, and that very simply is the story on him. As for Ballesteros, well, he could have started to play himself out of it a little bit. He has made at least one very difficult par, and he also made one great putt. Let's take a look at that. Again, on videotape, something that happened not too long ago. Again, on the par 5, 4th hole, look at the length of that putt. And look at the unerring way in which it goes in the hole. And those are the reasons, then, that Tom Watson now leads Ballesteros and Nelson by 2 shots. A long way to go in this U.S. Open. And remember, Tom Watson once led the PGA Championship here in 1978 by 5 strokes with 9 holes to play, but he lost in a playoff. As I said, there's a lot to be done yet. Jack?
Thank you, Jim, very much. As we look now at Seve, getting that kick there on the 6th hole. He's got a longish putt, but he could have been back into that deep rough. He must keep in touch with Tom Watson. As Tom now is capable of the finest golf you'll ever see, the way he's playing this morning, or this afternoon, rather. Nelson and Ballesteros. Only 3 players in red figures. Rather anemic leaderboard.
Maybe anemic in the sense of under par, Jack, but it's not anemic as far as who they are.
All right. Now Larry Nelson. Second shot at 7.
175 yards.
My.
Very good. Another good chance. He's got to putt uphill at it.
He's been steady all day, huh?
He really has. He's hit some beautiful golf shots.
Larry Nelson, who climbed over many, many bodies yesterday with that 65. Now we're back at the 6th. And the leader. Five under. Do you believe what you're seeing, David?
I sure don't. Just thinking about this, Jack, he hit a poor iron shot the first hole, and since then he's flagged it every time, whether it got close or not. But that's what great players do. All they need is to get into a slot, and their swing comes right back on land, and this man has hit it right to flag the next 5 holes and made 4 birdies.
4 birdies in the first 6 holes in the final round of the U.S. Open on Oakmont.
Again, this putt gets even more crucial for Seve.
Yep. But there's 3 shots now between Tom Watson and Seve Ballesteros and Larry Nelson. Our leader, Tom Watson, here, and we'll be back with more in just a moment.
Winning is seldom without effort. Beyond all, it demands calculation and strategy. At Merrill Lynch, before a move is taken on your behalf, your account executive analyzes your financial situation, then calls upon the country's most awarded research team in helping you select precisely the right investments to advance you to your financial goal. Talk to a Merrill Lynch account executive and understand why we are Merrill Lynch, a breed apart.
Some things speak for themselves.
Thursday, ABC reveals Wishman and the face that could replace Tom Selleck.
When it comes to golf, why do more Western New York golfers come to Springbrook? Well, maybe it's the complete line of Pro-Line golf equipment at discount prices. Names like Wilson, McGregor, Spalding, Hagen, and Hogan. Maybe it's the personal service from the Springbrook staff. They're there to make sure you get exactly what you need, and they do it with a smile, too. From bags to balls to sportswear. Why Springbrook? Stop out and see for yourself.
Thanks to Century Hardware, I don't have to scramble for do-it-yourself help.
Let Century help you remove up to 10 coats of paints, varnishes, lacquers, epoxies, or other finishes with Zip Strip. Just right for the do-it-yourselfer. It's water rinsable, non-flammable, formulated for commercial, household, and marine finishes. Century special priced at $369.
For do-it-yourself.
Channel 7, Buffalo.
Of Spain. He is 1 under par in the final round of the U.S. Open, but he is now 3 shots behind with the man with whom he was tied when the day began. Larry Nelson has a putt for a birdie. Frank Hannigan, is something going on out there with the USGA official? Frank Hannigan, the senior executive director, incoming, and congratulations on that, Frank, of the USGA. What's going on?
It looks like, for some reason or other, that the cup has been damaged, and the player Nelson has asked the referee, who is Jim Hand, chairman of the USGA Championship Committee, to repair the edge of the hole. Might have been damaged when a caddy removed the flag stick carelessly.
Would that have to be repaired by an official? Could it be not by the player?
That's right, by an official.
Okay. There is the hole, neatly restored to its pristine form. And Larry Nelson with a putt for a birdie. Remember, he's 2 under for the day, 2 under for the championship. But 3 shots behind Watson. My goodness.
I'm sure glad I asked Jim to fix that cup for me.
And over to you, Tom, Larry may be thinking. He's now 3 under for the day. He's 2 shots behind Watson. As you said, cool customer from Marietta, Georgia. Somewhat like Cal Pete, he took up the game of golf very late. At the age of 21, he started to play golf.
And like as Calvin does, he feels that's good, that he didn't, get burned out playing golf as a youngster, as a number of kids do.
Now, Cal, at 2 over par, he bogeyed the first 2 holes. An unfortunate start for him. Since then, he's parred everything, and this is for a par. He certainly needs 3-4 birdies to get back into this fight the way it's going. Deliberately stroked into the hole by Cal Pete. So he remains at 2 over, but he's 7 shots out of the lead. Another look at something flavorful. Larry Nelson's putt. It went in at the exact spot where the cup had been repaired.
It looked that way.
Yeah.
Even more impressive to me, what is this?
Well, they're, I don't know, flying high at Oakmont or something is the object of that.
More impressive to me, he's 9 under for the last 25 holes that he's played at Oakmont, and that's with 2 bogeys. So he's not only putting well, he's got to be hitting the ball close to the hole.
Indeed. Fairways of Oakmont. There the green, and there's some of the sand, 178 bunkers. I guess we mentioned that earlier. One of them 130 yards in length. It's not only that they're 178, but they're so big, and the walls are so steep on many of them. Now it's time for a bit of bullfighter's courage for Seve Ballesteros. 1 under par, but losing ground. Can't let it affect him. Again, the lean.
Well, what a beautiful shot, Jim.
Oh, a little long, though, Bob.
And not too good a break, Rossi. Jumped back in the area there just over the first cut. Can't tell what kind of lie he's got.
All you know at the beginning is that you can see the ball. But we're looking from straight above, too, with that particular shot.
Tom hit his drive well to the right and actually got a little unlucky that the ball didn't go into the sand. It caught the sort of like an island between the bunkers, and it's not sitting terribly bad, but not very good either. He doesn't have a very long shot, though. I imagine this is probably a hard 9-iron. Grass is going the right way for him anyway.
Oh, we can see the flagstick. We can see his problem looking from straight behind.
Does he have to carry that bunker, Rossi?
Well, he's going left, and this is going to be a good shot.
It's awfully hot. Let's see.
Through the green.
Yeah, it's going to go through and into the bunker, Ross. That ball was so hot coming out of that long grass that it just kept going and going and going. And look at the lie straight uphill. He conceivably could catch that lip.
Conceivably, Jim, but if he's got the upslope, the good news is the first thing you do when you have an upslope is the ball will jump straight up in the air, so that shouldn't be that much of a problem.
Now to the par 3 8th hole with Larry Nelson, who's 2 shots behind, but could be closer soon. Okay, there you see it, onto the putting surface. But a long way from the hole at the moment. The leader is still this man, Tom Watson. More to come.
You're on the practice tee, hours before the club championship, grooving your swing to hit your longest ball. But when distance really counts, will the ball you're hitting deliver the distance? Only if it's a top flight, or the higher flying Top Flight XL. Because no matter how hard you try, you'll never hit your longest ball until you hit the longest ball. Top Flight.
Did you know that science has developed a new telephone cable fiber as thin as a human hair? It's made out of glass, and it transmits your voice with light impulses. The big benefit being that the new telephone cables are only 1/16 the size of the old ones. So in the same amount of space, we can now handle thousands more calls.
Gee.
No, GTE.
Welcome back to this year's Open Championship. And what great stuff we're seeing. That ball in the bunker there belongs to the defending champion, Tom Watson. They're playing the 7th hole. Sevy's ball, Seve Ballesteros' ball, is perched right on the very edge of the bunker. They both played 2 shots. Tom Watson 2 strokes ahead now of Larry Nelson, who is playing quite beautifully. 3 under par, Ballesteros 2 under par. And a very good shot, but as you see, the pace of the green has just carried it 8 or 9 feet past. But the putter of Tom Watson has been working, well, miracles today. He's putted quite beautifully and has, in fact, had a couple of slightly wayward shots. His second shot to the first hole, and tee shot here. This 7th hole missed the fairway, but apart from that, he's played quite splendidly. There's Sevy's ball. Look at that, perched on that ridge right on the edge of the bunker. He's almost got to do a balancing act here as well. Just a little firm little shot. Chops it up, looking to hole it. And that's... well, it slipped on a bit. There's the leaderboard. You see Tom Watson playing quite brilliantly today. Hitting good shots, holding putts. And the others, really, there's been some steady golf played, but nobody making any sort of move from the back of the field. Ray Floyd, many thought might come through today, holding ground at 2 over, and all these players. Gary Player's completed his 4 rounds, 2-9-4 total, 10 over par. Tom Watson for his par 4 at the 7th. Can he do it yet again? Oh, well, well, well. That was a good strike, though, a good putt. And he's deciding to have a wait. Let's mark it and wait. So, Ballesteros with not a very long putt. If he can get it in, he'll be tied with Larry Nelson at 3 under. And both he and Larry will just be 2 strokes behind Tom Watson. Well, Tom obviously thought that ball was going to have a little bit of swing in it, but it seemed to go pretty well right to the edge of the hole. And we get a very good view of this. Really is a super picture, that. And you can see the smoothness of these greens. I've never seen greens smoother. They're firm, very fast, but the surface is so good. Oh, I say. He went t'other side, and so now if Larry Nelson has this putt for a birdie, if he holds it, well, all sorts of things could happen if he holds it, but he hasn't. He's left it way short because he's creeping ever nearer to this man, Tom Watson, who's got this putt for a 1 over par 5. Which he gets, so a chance missed by Ballesteros. He drops the stroke. So does Tom Watson, who is now just 1 stroke ahead of Larry Nelson. So it's all hotting up. Hal Sutton still playing nicely, but we look down on Calvin Peete, who got off to a shaky start, and since then he's been keeping his game together, and he's got a putt for a birdie. And has he got a putt at last? Looks good. Well done, Calvin. Well, that's great stuff from him. We're going to have a message now from the United States Golf Association, from the defending champion, Tom Watson.
The United States Golf Association does a lot of things, including the conduct of the U.S. Open and 11 other national championships. The USGA receives over 20,000 entries for our 12 championships. To boil these entries down to the starting field for each competition requires the help of dedicated golf administrators throughout the country, as well as volunteers at each of the host clubs and courses. The USGA relies heavily on state and regional golf associations to conduct qualifying rounds. There will be nearly 700 qualifying rounds at over 400 sites in 1983. USGA agronomists and championship department staff meet with corps superintendents and other officials at host clubs to discuss preparations for each championship. Then there are the 700 USGA committee members who give so freely of their time and pay their own expenses to help conduct the championships. Conducting national championships is a team effort, but that really describes the USGA, golfers working together.
The preceding message has been brought to you by the USGA, serving the game since 1894.
Tom Watson at the 8th tee now leads by 2 as Larry Nelson has just bogeyed this hole. Take a look at this for a par 3. There's the typical Watson swing, accelerating through that ball so well, and look at this.
He has not been offline since that second shot at the first hole, even though it was too much club on number 7 and ran through the into the bunker at the back.
This was a few moments ago at the same green. This was the putt Larry Nelson had for par. And it goes from 3 under to 2 under. Now back at the tee at 8, Ballesteros. With the iron.
Oh, he's a long way from home. Anytime you see Watson hit a wood to a par 3, you know it's a grown-up par 3, Jack.
Grown up is right. As Tom Watson now in excellent position to improve his position. We'll be back.
Nobody beats Pittsburgh. Nobody. Because nobody has the lineup that Pittsburgh has. They're big, bright, bold. Nobody has better coverage than Pittsburgh. Inside, outside, all over. Nobody performs better than Pittsburgh from start to finish. And nobody has the endurance of Pittsburgh in any weather. Now, if you don't agree with what I told you about Pittsburgh, you know what you'll get? Your money back.
Look for the entire line of Pittsburgh paints in bright new cans.
When Boeing sends sales teams worldwide, they're given Citicorp traveler's checks because who knows where they might end up.
Citicorp. Of course.
Accepted round the world.
Citicorp traveler's checks?
Oh, refunds in thousands of locations.
Thank you. We got to get to the airport.
Have to catch a plane, sir?
No, sell one.
Sell one?
Because you never know where you might end up. Citicorp traveler's checks.
One computer company has been shaping the way business does business for 99 years, NCR. Today, NCR High Technology puts computer power where business needs it most. From the powerful NCR personal computer, Decision Mate 5, to the awesome power of the 9300, the world's first full 32-bit VLSI mainframe for business. NCR, shaping the way business does business.
Imagine winning the World Series 4 years in a row, or the Super Bowl. Pretty tough to do. Well, Eastern's won a championship 4 straight times. The Airline Championship. For the 4th year in a row, we've flown more passengers than any other airline in the free world. More than United, American, or TWA. That's earning your wings. So next trip, fly with Eastern, and fly with the champ.
We're Eastern, America's favorite way to fly.
Seve Ballesteros of Spain trails Tom Watson in their battle for the U.S. Open Championship by 3 strokes. In between them is Larry Nelson, who is 2 strokes behind Watson. Ballesteros now with a long putt on the par 3 8th hole. This hole 240 yards in length. You don't see many par 3s that long. And with the pin on the back today, it's further than that to the hole.
Because usually the measurement is to the center of the green.
Right.
So earlier Jack said 250. I feel that's really about what it's playing. It's 250 yards.
There you see them graphically portrayed. Former champion David Graham has come in with a 69. That's the 3rd 69 of the day, 2 under par. Craig Stadler had one, and so did D.A. Wybring. There's a look at this hole. Again, look at the length of that bunker.
I'm telling you, I don't think you need that much sand. That's just maintenance there to fill that up or to catch poor members. Doesn't catch any of these guys the first part of that.
No. Now, Seve and Gil Morgan on the right. Morgan is 3 over par, but he has that putt for an eagle on the par 5 9th hole to move him back into the fight a bit. Okay, Ballesteros birdie attempt. And Morgan. A couple of near misses, but Gil Morgan will have his for birdie, remember. And there it is. Brings him to 2 over for the championship at a tie with Ray Floyd. Some of these scores we give you as they come in, like David Graham and Stadler and people like that, are important because the top 15 finishers in this year's U.S. Open, automatically qualify for next year's U.S. Open. The top 16, for some reason, automatically qualify for the Masters. So.
And any of those who tie for 16th
and ties,
or 15th, whatever the case may be.
Tom Watson for yet another birdie. He's 4 under for the championship, 3 under for the day. He's had 4 birdies and 1 bogey. And now he's got another.
That is really playing golf there. My word.
5 under. He has a 3-stroke lead over Nelson. 4 over Ballesteros. 6 over Cal Pete and Hal Sutton. 7 over Ray Floyd and Gil Morgan. But again, we would remind you that there's considerable green grass to be walked upon and played upon before this is over today. The rain's still holding off, by the way. Cloudy, muggy day.
Seve missed a short one at 7. Now he needs, obviously, to get this in.
And he did for a par that keeps him at 1 under for the championship. Even par on today's round. Look at the gallery. It is certainly growing. Looks like more than yesterday. There is the pedestrian bridge that takes you back across the Pennsylvania Turnpike and the railroad tracks for the rest of the golf course. Seve Ballesteros. The chance for the Grand Slam this year, having great golfers come from the plains of Texas or the mountains of western Pennsylvania or mid-American cities like Columbus, Ohio or Kansas City, Missouri. What you're looking at is none of the above. It is in fact Santander, a resort city of 150,000 on the north coast of Spain. One great golfer comes from this area. From a much smaller place than Santander itself, he comes from the tiny farming village of Pedreña, just across the bay, and his name is Severiano Ballesteros. This house was built by his ancestors a century ago, and Ballesteros still calls it home. Had his great-grandfather not sold some of the land in 1929, Severiano today might be quietly farming the ancestral soil, but great-grandfather did sell some of the land to some people who built on it a golf course. And it was here that Severiano and his brothers caddied, and where he learned to play the game with an old 3-iron. In 1979, he found sudden worldwide fame when he won the British Open at Royal Lytham in St. Anne's. He was a slashing, swashbuckling Latin hero and just 22 years old. Jean-Claude Keeley, the great ski racer, said that when great things happen to you in glamorous places, you must remember that you came from someplace else, someplace like Pedreña. In 1980, he traveled to Augusta, Georgia, and made off with the Masters Championship, belting the long ball on the wide-open fairways of Augusta National, putting the famous greens to perfection. At such times, it's important to remember that it started in this caddy shack in Pedreña, where Seve and his brothers talked and learned the game. This spring, another Masters victory. The kid from Spain now is a full-fledged member of the golfing establishment. At age 26, a man who one day might just grow to dominate the sport. The hallowed green jacket from defending champion Craig Stadler. Just last Sunday at the Westchester Country Club outside New York City, he became a new favorite of the Big Apple, winning the Westchester Classic with an eagle on the final hole. But back in Pedreña, they know that the 9-year-old boy who learned to play with that battered 3-iron will not truly join the greats of the sport until he wins the U.S. Open. He was the hottest golfer of the moment when he came here, but his record in this championship is not impressive, and we asked him why.
Say at the U.S. Open you have to be very mechanic player, you know, you have to hit consistent and fairway green, and keep making pars. I think that is why it doesn't suit my game, because I'm sometimes a little bit erratic player, and then I have a good I can manage, you know. But from the rough they have at the U.S. Open is very difficult. That's my problem.
Seve Ballesteros, very difficult, but this year he has solved it far better than he ever has before. Now, Larry Nelson, second shot on the 9th hole. A par 5, but a very birdieable par 5 in this championship. The only hole on the course that people have really been gaining on in groups.
Simply because it's short, Jim, and
Yep.
they can longer hitters. And look at this shot. He
My
reached
goodness.
it in 2 shots.
Now, that was his second shot. That's the word we have from the golf course. So, 480-yard par 5, and they're the gabled farm-type clubhouse of Oakmont. There's how they stand. 3-shot lead for Watson. Nelson, Ballesteros, Cal Pete trying to get back into it.
480 may sound short for a par 5, but it is uphill, so it'll
Yep.
play a little longer than it's side by side with number 1, and they're almost the same length.
You know, I was just thinking back to the days when we would only cover like the back 9 of a major championship. What we would have missed today. 18-hole coverage is not a gimmick or a bonus or something. It's vitally important if you're going to show the national championship of American golf, because we have seen 5 birdies by Tom Watson. We've seen all other sorts of daring do, some of it by Larry Nelson. And we would have missed all that. In other words, the championship could have been decided on those holes. Maybe decided later, too.
Well, it's nice to see the whole contest as long as you're going to sit down and watch it.
You don't pick up a baseball game in the 5th inning. Okay. Larry Nelson, yes, indeed, he is on in 2 on this 480-yard hole. A birdie would move him to, or an eagle, I should say, would move him to within 1 shot of Watson at the moment. But despite this masterful performance of Watson, Nelson is not shaking. This is the 9th green that, remember, doubles as the practice putting green. Yesterday, Tom Watson was so far on the back of it that one of the practice holes was between him and the real hole, and he had to get relief from a USGA official. Everything near you is practice green. It also, however, is in play on the golf course.
Just where those 2 caddies are kneeling down there is when about where the 9th green really starts. You can see they're in a little swale there.
Yep. But all of it counts. And
oh, yes.
Play from all of it, as Watson did yesterday. Larry taking his time. He's not a slow player, is he?
No, not at all.
I think so.
These greens are tricky, Jim. It's you just can't walk up and say, well, I know what this is going to do exactly. And after all, he's just come from a 3-putt at the 8th green, so he doesn't want to do anything silly here. And yet he still wants to give himself a good chance. We've got a good look at Larry's grip there. Very basic putting grip. He wants to give himself a realistic chance for an eagle. And he did. Wow.
Oh, dear. However, that'll be a birdie for Larry Nelson to move him to 3 under. 2 shots behind Watson, 2 ahead of Ballesteros. However, remember, they're coming to the 9th. And there are 2 people who also may have good chances for eagles, and certainly for birdies. Larry Nelson, at the end of the front 9. He started the day even. He's now 3 under. So he has had a 3 under par score of 33. That's awfully good. After a 65 yesterday.
You put that with what he had yesterday, that's even more impressive.
His opening rounds were 75 and 73. It didn't look like he was going to be in this fight at all until yesterday.
This man either. Calvin started with 75 and then didn't get to finish his round on, which was a low round of the day for Friday, which he actually finished on Saturday because of the rain delay. Came out and bogeyed the 18th hole early Saturday morning. Calvin.
Calvin in the hole for a birdie 4, we're told. That'll move him to even par. Now we'll look at the 9th hole, 480 yards, par 5.
Well, that was my mistake. That sounded more like a birdie applause there.
Okay, so it was a par for Cal Pete to keep him at 1 over par. Look at that. Tremendous effort. Well, he had to hack it out a bit, so he does not get the eagle opportunity. Let's see now about Tom Watson. That was Ballesteros, of course, and now Watson with a 2-stroke lead in the National Open. I always liked it when they called it the National Open years ago.
Jim.
Yeah.
But that's why it's important to drive in a fairway. Now, Tom has really a big advantage here. Even as strong as Seve is, couldn't knock the ball on the green out of the rough. Tom, on the other hand, has an iron to this hole, which then becomes a par 4 for him.
It's probably only a 4-iron, Dave. He hit a tremendous drive. That shot's a little to the right, though.
It started that way. It just didn't come back. He's in a deep rough there.
Up into the deep rough beside the 9th green goes Tom Watson, but he's only 2, and it's a par 5 hole. The battle goes on.
More pros play Wilson Staff because more pros win with Staff. And you can play what pros play.
Now there's a marathon with many competitors, but no competition. The Xerox 1045 Marathon Copier. It's so advanced in design, it can be adapted to run 8 different ways. So intelligent, it can think for itself. And so rugged, it can run hour after hour. The Xerox 1045 Marathon Copier, built to shatter the record for endurance. From Xerox.
All across the country, every day, USFNG insures you. Your work, your home, your play. The USFNG and the USA.
From a treasury of American heritage like the National Cowboy Hall of Fame in Oklahoma, to a family business like A Brothers Ice Cream in Dixon, Illinois, to a major New York City attraction like Circle Line Tours, USF&G Insurance protects them all. Through 6,500 independent insurance agents coast to coast. We're part of this country and proud of it.
The USFNG and the USA, protecting what you value and ensuring your way. The USFNG and the USA.
Welcome back, and that's not Big Brother peeping out through the window. That's one of our excellent cameramen with his magic lantern looking out from the top of the clubhouse, giving us the reverse view back down this 9th hole and this huge 9th green. And they're perched everywhere. Records have been broken pretty well every day at this championship. Wonderful crowds, and we've been lucky with the weather, apart from that great thunderstorm that we had when play was delayed 2.5 hours, and they're seeing a feast of golf. This is Seve's 3rd shot, par 5, 9th hole. Drove it in the rough, couldn't, even with his great strength, force it on the green, and the slope, well, it just needed a touch more. Oh. He just wanted it over the top of the hill, and nearly a good one. But he's just not getting to grips with the course as far as getting birdies are concerned. He's holding ground. He started the day at 1 under par. He's still 1 under. Larry Nelson's moved ahead there, 3 under, but this is the man of the moment. He's had 5 birdies and 1 bogey in 8 holes. Truly remarkable stuff. And this is his 3rd shot at the 9th. Not lying all that badly, and one would anticipate that Tom somehow or other will get down in 2 from here. Not that it's very easy. He's got to make sure of making solid enough contact with the ball. Just slides the club in and underneath and plays an exquisite little shot. Again, pulled up perhaps a little quicker than he might have thought. Ninth green, the final 2 ball on the course. Tom Watson and Seve Ballesteros. Watson with a short putt to go 6 under. Ballesteros with a putt must be, 7 or 8 yards for a birdie. Missed a short putt at the 7th, Seve. That really is the only mistake he's made. He's held a couple of good putts to save his par on occasion. But Tom Watson really has hit some beautiful shots and putted quite magnificently so far. Notice that right forefinger. The club held very lightly. Looks good. Oh, beautiful putt. Unlucky, unlucky. And that's how they slip away. They just don't rock. But, as Jim was saying, Tom Watson once had a mighty lead, 5 or 6 strokes with 9 holes to go here. This is the 10th green, and Gil Morgan 2 over par, playing very steadily indeed. This for a par. Terry Deal's been following this match. The good doctor's performing nicely, Terry.
Gill's hit very, very classy long iron shots today. And the way the course is set up, Watson's round is that more remarkable. Gill's hit it in the center of every green, just can't get one down.
Back to Tom Watson at the 9th and dead center for another birdie. That's 6 birdies in 9 holes and 1 bogey. Truly remarkable golf from the defending champion, Tom Watson. Isn't it a funny old life, a funny old game? Only seems 5 minutes ago they said, he can't win the Open. He's a choker, gets too nervous. Well, I wonder what they think now. Larry Nelson, the man in 2nd place. 10th hole. 2nd shot. 462 yards.
It's on the right side.
Oh.
Should work well down to the hole.
But a nice bounce in there, Eddie. And it's still coming. It's still coming.
People don't realize how fast this green is, Peter, and any shot will work well down to that corner of the green.
Well, eventually it stops, but Larry Nelson with a very holeable puddle, although it'll be very fast indeed for yet another birdie. So he had a remarkable day's golf yesterday, and he's continuing the good work today. Playing with him, Calvin Peete. Just 1 over. Ballesteros got his par, 5 at the 9th. So he stays at 1 under, but remember, Watson is 6 under. Cal Peete here, 1 over.
He's hit a beautiful drive. He's right in the center of the fairway, probably some 275 yards off the tee. Even though he slipped a bit today, he really has played very well. It's a difficult golf course, and I think Watson's play has overshadowed everyone to this point. But Calvin is still playing very well.
Look at that ball just running round and on the slope, coming down the hill, down the green. Well, we're getting into the second 9 holes of the final round of this year's Open. A lot more good things to come.
Some things speak for themselves. In investments, as in life, the only thing you can be certain of is change. At Merrill Lynch, our unsurpassed resources enable our account executives to guide you towards investments that best complement the times. It is this awareness of changing economic conditions and our expertise in responding to them that can help you reach your financial goals. Talk to a Merrill Lynch account executive and understand why we are Merrill Lynch, a breed apart.
Is AIDS hysteria spreading faster than the disease? Monday, watch ABC's World News Tonight.
When I first started my company, business was slow. To tell you the truth, I did most of the work myself. But then I started putting my money in the book, the Yellow Pages, and business started to build. A few years ago, I took out a bigger ad in the Yellow Pages and got even bigger results. Today, I run the biggest ad I can get, and it still works, because now, the sky's the limit.
Money in the book is money in the bank.
I rely on my Service Star dealer for all kinds of do-it-yourself advice. But right now, the best advice he's been giving me is how to save money. Here's what he told me today.
Right now, get this Power Pal air compressor toolkit for painting, caulking, and spraying. Free when you purchase this high-performance 1/2 horsepower Campbell Housefelt air compressor for the incredibly low price of $149.99.
See what I mean? Now you can take that advice to the bank.
For more great savings, get to your Service Star dealers' It's Summer Now sale.
Channel 7, Buffalo.
Welcome back to the Oakmont Country Club, where history is being made in the United States Open. Tom Watson at 6, Larry Nelson at 3 under, Ballesteros at 1 under. Tom Watson has just turned the front 9 in 31 strokes. As we look down the rest of the leaderboard, Ray Floyd now has dropped back to +5, and it has become now 3, possibly a 2-man race. As we look here at Calvin Peete, who is +1 and putting for birdie. Down on the 10th green, the treacherous 10th, the most difficult hole in this tournament. All right. Here are the scorecards of Johnny Miller, who's 63 here, startled the world back in 1973, and Tom Watson, their front 9. And you see Johnny Miller, the birdies are in white and the bogeys in blue. And Miller came in 32, Tom Watson in 31. Tom today had just 2 pars in that front 9. 6 birdies, 1 bogey. That's the way to blow your opponents out of the water, David, isn't it?
That's exactly what he's doing. And, Jack, there was really only 1 putt of any length there at the 3rd hole that he had to make. Of course, making the putt at number 1, that's got to put you in a good frame of mind. A putt for a par. Well, this putt is really slick going down here.
Larry Nelson's here at 10?
Right.
Yes. Larry himself did 33 in the front 9 with 4 birdies. Ooh, look at it go. Slick is right. Very difficult hole because it's downhill and the green then goes away from you too, doesn't it?
Just as number 1 does, and it's just with the slope. If you built a green like that nowadays, I think they'd probably really be mad at the architect who built it going away from you. But again, that's part of Oakmont's, if you want to call it, charm.
Calvin Peete got off to a shaky start with 2 bogeys, but has calmed down a bit. But in that time, Tom Watson has streaked ahead. And the back 9 here is certainly a difficult place to make up shots, isn't it? Somebody's going to have to come back.
Well, the back 9 throughout the tournament has played tougher than the front. And, of course, watch Calvin here. I noticed Watson went off the 10th tee with an iron, where in 78, when really the 10th hole, he made 6, Mahaffey made a birdie, picked up 3 shots right away, kind of started Tom on his roll the wrong way.
All right, very firm putt, solidly in back of the cut. Calvin's at +1. And here is to give you an idea of that green here at 10, how it just does drop away from them. It's coming downhill, and there's a 3 feet between the depression from front to back. And it has played out to be the most difficult hole during this tournament, as Larry Nelson gets by the 10th. He has bogeyed it 2 days, and he's by it today safely and remains at 3 under, 3 shots behind Tom Watson.
He's going to dance over to 11 tee.
Yes. When you walk away from there, I guess, with a par, I guess you feel that way. Ballesteros now. Rossi.
Very, very long shot. This is probably the 3-iron as hard as he can hit it, but it's sure a pretty looking shot. It's right at the flag.
Oh, come on now. Look at this move. Well, that'll show you.
It won't stay on the green, Jack.
That's the slant of this green, and that slope.
Straight at the flag is not where you want to hit it. It's
be over to the right.
It's what Nelson did.
Watson's in the right-hand rough. It's one of the few fairways he's missed. He missed it with an iron. Looks like a 5-iron. It's going way left. It really came out terribly and is in the very long rough, about 100 yards short of the green.
So, that 10th hole now, taking center stage here. Ballesteros' ball you can just barely see, and Watson's you cannot, as the leaderboard looks this way at this moment.
Tom Watson leading by 3. Now, about a decade now. I talked to him the other day. He said he hasn't been playing well really for 2 years. He said even though he won the U.S. and British Opens last year, I asked him if the drive was still as hard as it used to be. His priorities hadn't changed quite a bit. Here's what he had to say.
Well, the priorities are different, that's for sure, with a family. The priorities are definitely different. It used to be that with an ever-supporting wife, Linda, she used to let me basically practice as much as I wanted to practice and play as much as I wanted to play. And, of course, now with a family, that's a little bit different. She takes a tremendous burden on the family. When I'm out of town, she has to take care of the kids, but I miss her a tremendous amount. And I think there's a lot to be said for those players who don't have kids and their ability to play and practice more. I don't have the ability to play and practice. Ration my time a little bit now, quite a bit more now than I did, say, in the mid-70s. I think it's put a strain on my game, but the priorities are there. The family comes first.
So speaks Tom Watson. Well, he's certainly playing with memories of Turnberry and other places today here, I say that. Tom Watson hitting his 3rd shot here at this par 4, and it won't be an easy shot, Rossi, will it?
No, there is no easy shot on this hole.
Now here's Gil Morgan at the 11th hole for birdie. Gil is +1. No, +2, I say. He gets it. One under on the day. And back at the 10th. And Tom Watson, the leader. A remarkable 31 on the front 9.
Jack, here's a shot. It's 100 yards, Rossi said, or thereabouts. You've got a wedge. There's no way to shoot it to pin. You do well just to put it on the green, I feel. The only good thing is it's going to, if it hits out to the right, it is going to roll back to the left. That's the only saving thing he may have.
That's where he's put it, isn't it?
Oh, that's a good shot.
That'll be lovely. Look at it go. Like it has an electric battery in it when it hits there.
And as I said, he'd be lucky to keep it on the green.
So he is 3 there. And Ballesteros, as we look at Gil Morgan on the 13th tee.
12th tee.
That's the 12th tee, which is the par 5, the long one, 603 yards with a tilting fairway and another green that can give you gray hairs. There it is. As we look at Raymond Floyd. And Raymond's nicely in the fairway, just up against the short rough. Let's see if we can get a wooden club on that. It
Stay in the
appears
fairway.
it's pretty good. Now Ballesteros. Well, Nelson first, a second shot. And what's the story there, Ed?
Jack, he's got a pretty good lie. With the pin cut fairly close to the bunker on the right side of the green, he'll have to hit a good shot to get it close, but he really shouldn't have too much trouble getting the ball on the green.
He's on, safely on at the 11th. Good steady round. On any other day would have done him a lot better good. Ballesteros still has not played. This is Watson.
Putting the ball, Jack.
Uh-huh. And quite well.
Oh, that's where this goes, though. Okay. Not bad at all, but he's got a tricky little putt coming down there.
There is Linda Watson. And P.J. Boatwright of the United States Golf Association. The concerned look.
It's a helpless feeling. Just watching someone that you are pulling for, and I know she's pulling for him.
Now Ballesteros. Oh, that comes up. Well, as you said yesterday, Dave, you just have no control over that, do you?
You don't have a lot, and I noticed that the shots that Seve has not pitched like they were going to go in, or at least got to the hole, they stopped quite a bit quicker than he was imagining they would do.
Watson at 6 under, Nelson at 3 under, Ballesteros at 1 under. With Watson in some kind of slight difficulty here at 10, but Ballesteros is not out of it by any means either. Other scores, how they're going. Well, Ballesteros will putt first. And this for par.
He can be a little aggressive here, Jack, as he's putting uphill. It breaks a little from his right to left. Whoa, went out the other way.
Well, another opportunity to pick up some ground on the leader now goes out the window for Seve. Bogey 5 at 10, puts him to even par. Now Watson. Shorter putt, but still a little hairy.
It's downhill again. You know, he's an aggressive putter. Said that a million times. But he's got one here that'll test your nerves. Just got to start this one, Jack.
Oh, what good putt. Believe it or not, that's a good bogey.
That was a good 5 after where he put himself in 2.
This is Nelson for birdie. And he could pick up something at the 11th hole. He could have really picked up something on Watson there, but remains at 3 under with that left for a par. Tom Watson at -5, Larry Nelson at -3, and we'll be back to Oakmont in a moment.
There's more to its new looks than looks alone. Cougar. Attractive as it may be, its very form helps it aerodynamically split the wind. Its nitro-cushion suspension system helps it master its environment. Cougar. No other car functions like it because no other car is formed like it. Cougar from Mercury.
Get ready to take control. Get behind the Wilson Aviator and watch your game take off. No ball flies farther than Aviator. But Wilson gave it a soft touch to hug the club face. So it feels great in your short game. Where it counts. The Wilson Aviator. It's made to feel. It's made to fly.
Well, that was a memorable day at the White House, Arnie. But as you know, being the #1 associate hasn't helped my golf game.
Well, Mr. President, a lot has happened since you became the first USGA associate. You know, over 120,000 golfers join the program every year.
and they've made over $10 million in tax-deductible contributions to help support the USGA.
Arnie, I guess everyone knows the USGA writes the rules and sponsors the national championships, but not everyone knows some of the other things the USGA is doing these days.
The USGA establishes standards for equipment and balls, sponsors turfgrass research and services, administers the national handicapping and course rating systems, and maintains a museum and library at Golf House.
Arnie, it seems to me as if the USGA deserves our full support.
Well, that's certainly the way I feel about it. For information on how you can help the USGA perform its services for the game of golf, write to me at Golf House, Far Hills, New Jersey, 07931, or call toll-free 1-800-528-6600.
The day started as a hand-to-hand struggle between the two greatest golfers in the world at this moment, Tom Watson and Seve Ballesteros. Now it's turned into a fight, at least for the moment, between Tom Watson and Larry Nelson. Larry Nelson, who wasn't even in this tournament, it didn't seem, going into the third round, but shot 65 yesterday, has gone out on the front nine in 33 today, and is just 2 strokes behind Watson. And I think, Dave, that's very significant that although Watson shot 31 on the front nine, he still only has that 2-shot lead. That's not much. The 11th tee. The hole back up the hill, 371-yard par 4. 10 is all the way down the hill. This is back up the same hill.
That looks perfect, too. Left side of the fairway. So when Larry played the hole, the pin is back right. Not all the way back, but on the right-hand side. Gives you a little easier looking entry to the hole.
Ballesteros, current Masters champion. He's won that twice. He's won the British Open. He has not won this. This is the first time he has ever played well in it, actually. But he's played extremely well. Today's round, however, he is 1 over for the day. Ooh, let's see. Yep. Oh, Rossi, that looks pretty bad from here.
That is not good. It's in a spot where he can reach the green, Jim, but I don't think he's going to be able to hold the ball if he shoots it at the flag. He's going to have to play to the left. But with his strength, I think he can get it to the green.
Speaking of Larry Nelson, he is not without credentials himself. Well, here's Gil Morgan, who is 1 over for this championship. He's in a tie with Cal Peete for 4th place. His 3rd shot on the par 5 12th hole. Gil started the day 2 over, and he's gained a stroke on par. So he's to be checked on periodically. Now Watson. I was saying about Larry Nelson that he did, after all, win the PGA Championship in his home state in 1981. He's been on the Ryder Cup team twice, always among the top money leaders. It's just that he hasn't been this year. He's in 92nd place. As you said, hadn't been putting well or anything. Watson now. Going, remember, for his 2nd U.S. Open in a row.
Rossi, what kind of shot has he got there?
8-iron.
Draw, he said.
Pretty good looking shot, though.
Well, it could draw into the hole, perhaps. Another fine approach shot by Tom Watson, giving himself the birdie position. That's what's so difficult to do at Oakmont, isn't it?
Well, the only 2 really questionable iron shots that he's hit, well, 3 really, the tee off at 10, but the second shots at 1 and 10, he hooked them both. Other than that, he has knocked it right over the flag every time.
Seve with his difficult 2nd shot now from the rough. Look at the strength behind that shot.
Going right at the flag.
Nope. Nope. He has found one of the 178 bunkers of Oakmont. He is in the sand. He can't afford to lose any more. He's 5 shots behind now. So on he plods, the kid from Spain. We're going to move over to Jack Whitaker for the moment. Jack?
Thank you very much, Jim. And if you have joined us late, or even if you haven't joined us late, it's a remarkable story here in the final round of the U.S. Open. Tom Watson has almost exploded and run out and hit. He hasn't quite yet, but his front nine of 31 is absolutely topic A. With me here is Frank Hannigan, the executive director of the USGA, and our topic this afternoon for discussion will be famous front nines in open history.
Well, in modern times, Jack, there have been a number of 30s. Most of them were shot by golfers who were well out of contention. There are really three front nines in modern times that come to my mind. One, of course, is the epic 30 by Arnold Palmer at Cherry Hills in 1960. The second was Miller's 32 here to set up his great win here in 1973. The third, one I really remember, happened in the third round at Congressional in 1964. Your old friend Ken Venturi shot a 30 that was just unbelievable and enabled him to go on and take the lead and then win the championship.
And I think we'll have to put this 31 of Tommy's right in there, don't you?
Absolutely.
And as Dave Marr pointed out, he didn't really have any long putts except perhaps at the third and all those birdies he had.
Yeah, it was just magic what Watson did on the front nine today, Jack.
Right. Well, we had a Byron Nelson shot a 33, didn't he? I mean, Larry Nelson here at a 33 today with Tom, which has kind of been overshadowed because of all the birdies Tom had, but he came up with about 4 of his own.
Yeah, you would think if Watson knew at the start of the round that he was going to be 5 under, he would be the thought by now that he would be coasting.
That's right. So he's had 31, and he still hasn't put all the opposition away, has he?
Not by a long shot. 2-stroke lead could go in one hole.
Well, anyway, that's the story so far. Back to Jim McKay.
Observing here, Seve Ballesteros in the bunker, remember, on the 11th hole.
I don't
No,
know
wait
whether he's
a
in the
minute
bunker or
now.
not.
The word from the course was he was in the bunker, but he is in the long grass, it appears there. There we see it.
You'd be better off in the bunker, Jim.
Yep. This is the bad stuff.
Good shot.
Good shot. Still got one coming back. If he is to save par. Next hole coming up for them is the long par 5, 603 yards long. Now Gil Morgan putting for a birdie. He is on that par 5.
Look how far left he's aiming, Jim. You know, we think he's putting for birdie. I guarantee you Gil would just like to get the ball down in 2. Watch this breaker. Watch how fast this moves.
Look at that. Oh, what a fine putt. And yes, it went in just a moment ago for Gil Morgan, bringing him back to even par. Why, he's tied with Seve now. 5 strokes behind the leader, to be sure. 3 strokes behind Nelson. But a legitimate contender with as many holes to be played as there are. But he's got to keep it going. Gallery following the leaders. Watson. Oh. But his par will be easy. Seve's will be difficult. Okay. He's in. He remains at 5 under for the championship. 4 under on today's round. Getting a bit darker overhead, but still no rain. I sure hope that holds off. They told us early in the day it was a 60% chance. John Mahaffey on the right, finishing up on 18. John Mahaffey, who led, co-leader at the end of the first round, started this day 7 over. He's now 13 over. In other words, he's 6 over on today's round, needing this par putt for a round of 77. Won the PGA Championship on this golf course 5 years ago.
Beat the man that's leading the tournament.
Okay. There he is. Now Seve with the par putt on 11. All right. Had to do it to maintain any chance. So he stays at even par, tie with Gil Morgan, 5 behind Watson, 3 behind Larry Nelson, and still many holes to play.
MasterCard? I'm starved.
So worldly, so welcome, so worldly, so
know you're cooking. Make the world your oyster.
American business has what it takes, from raw materials to real guts. What business sometimes needs is credit. The Associates Commercial Corporation gives business credit to grow, to finance or lease equipment, to help do the job from start to finish. You've got the will, we've got the ways. When you need working capital, talk to the Associates. Our money's on you.
Nobody takes shots at second best, but it seems everybody takes shots at the Sony Trinitron, because nobody else has the patented Trinitron system with just one gun and one large lens. Nobody else has a system with a picture so extraordinary it can't be duplicated. And nobody else has won an Emmy for their picture. So try as they may, their shots just don't stick.
People usually think of IBM before Burroughs. After all, they're bigger. I was with IBM for 14 years, and bigger doesn't necessarily mean better. Take small business computers. The Burroughs B20 has more memory, power, and growth potential than IBM's DataMaster. And our hotlines will also answer your questions instantly. So when it comes to IBM and Burroughs, believe me, the question isn't who's bigger, it's who's better.
And that's how they stand with just 7 holes remaining of this year's championship, unless, of course, there's a tie, in which case there'll be an 18-hole playoff tomorrow. At the moment, Tom Watson still 2 strokes ahead of Larry Nelson. And Tom Watson and Severiano Ballesteros are now playing the long 12th hole, one of the few holes in golf over 600 yards in length, 603 to be precise. There it is, stretching away down the hill, and ahead, the 13th, par 3, 185 yards. Gil Morgan, after that wonderful putt on the 12th for a birdie. Here's his tee shot on the short 13th.
Good shot.
Having a very good year, good, solid player, and nicely on the green. And look at the speed of the ball just rolling back. It looks flat, doesn't it? But that ball rolled back 8 or 9 or 10 feet, and it's still moving. It's still just edging its way down. Finally comes to rest. Some great stuff being played here today, and my word, I'm sure we're in for even more dramas over these last few holes, because as everyone's been saying, so many things can happen here. Here's Ray Floyd playing with Gil Morgan. Not a good day for Raymond. Started out full of hope, but has found some evil lies, and now 7 over par. That's a beautiful looking shot, right at the pin. Now then, will it stop or will it go back? Yeah. There you have it. And that's recorded. Now Morgan for a 2. And he just speeds by. He's got a little tester left for his par. But he's right there, tied for 3rd place with Ballesteros. Even par. Larry Nelson. No, that's just slid away. That's hit, and it's still quite a few feet from the hole. Well, they always say there's no tournament or championship really comes alive until the last 9 holes of the last day. And many times that's true. Unless, of course, people are miles and miles ahead. Here's that putt I was just mentioning to you. This was Gil Morgan at the 12th. Look at him. He almost starts it out sideways. And it starts to turn. Looks good here. Gathering speed. Now then it slows down, and you wonder if it's going to make it. The weight of the ball just tippled it in. And that really was a marvelously judged shot from Gil Morgan. Second shot now of the leader and defending champion, Tom Watson, at the 12th. Just knocks it down the fairway. Bob, he's still a ways to go to the green, isn't he?
Well, yes, Peter, but he had a terrible lie, and he played a wonderful shot, I think, in the circumstances. He's got it about 200 yards from the green, but in the fairway where he can go at it.
And what about Seve?
Seve played a beautiful drive right down the middle, but he's taking an iron to lay up. He has not changed his game plan at all. And he's got it going a little left. It may catch the left rough.
Yep. Yes, it did, and it really seemed to settle right down in the bottom of the grass. The target area isn't very wide, but if you're going to play safe, for goodness sake, make sure, really, that you do get it on the cut surface. This is Larry Nelson for a par 5. In second place, 2 behind Tom Watson. Oh, yes. Looked as if it might have just edged to the right, but it didn't. It had the necessary drop, and that's another hole safely tucked away. This was moments ago. We recorded Cal Peet for a birdie at the 12th. Super third shot he played. And he popped it in as well. So 3 players now. Level par. Ballesteros, Peet, and Gil Morgan. There's a view of the 12th. You get some idea of the size of the bunkers here and the size of the crowds. There's the leaderboard showing the 3 players at even par. Hal Sutton, 2 over. Lanny Wadkins, 4 over. His brother, Bobby, who started the week so well, really fell by the wayside. But I'm sure he's enjoyed his week. Came in as a replacement for the injured Lee Trevino, and I'm sure we all wish Lee a speedy recovery. Bobby Wadkins, in fact, 77 today for a total of 306. Now then, Mr. Watson's third shot. Bob?
Well, he's about 200 yards, as I said, and of course he's going downhill. It's very, very still out here right now, not a breath of air. Tom will probably hit himself a 3 or 4 iron. I think, if anything, at this juncture, he would rather be over the green than short, because the most he would ever make from over the green would be 6, but from short of the green, you can make anything.
Well, 200 yards to go. He hasn't found the magic target in the rough between those 2 bunkers. Quite a long way from the hole. Well, Ballesteros has had a couple of opportunities which he hasn't managed to take. This man made his own luck and good fortune yesterday with a really terrific round of 65, and he's kept the good work going today. He's only just 2 strokes behind. He's on the 13th tee. 185-yard par 3. Funny little ridge on the right-hand side of this green, which makes putting very awkward. A lot of vocal support, and that could finish very close if it starts to move. Isn't golf a funny old game? You see, an ounce harder, that could have gone into heavy rough, just a foot or 2 over the green. But such is the game that you get, well, you get the good breaks. You get enough bad breaks, so you got to get a few good ones now and again. So Nelson looking in very good shape, maybe to get a birdie 2 there at the 13th. Seve's 3rd shot at the 12th. He's mowing into that ground like... He really does give it some stuff, I tell you. He's just got it on the front of the green. And that's big, still moving. Look at that dribbling away. Torval and Dean will not be performing here, though, on these greens. We'll be back in a minute.
This is the Xerox 620 Memory Writer. Since it came out, the people who make the Selectric have brought out a new improved electronic Model 85. But it can't print as fast as the 620. It can't be upgraded to add more memory. And it has no display to make revisions and correct mistakes before they get on paper. like the Xerox 620 does. That's why more and more selective typists select the 620 memory writer from Xerox.
In the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics, every athlete will be running at the speed of light, thanks to a lightwave communication system developed by West. It converts voice, data, and images into light. Every corner of the globe, including the corner of your... Working with your phone company to bring the information age home to you.
When you mishit a golf shot, something's bound to get in the way. Now there's a club that can help. The Wilson 1200 Gear Effect. Hit on the toe, and the 1200 GE spins the ball back towards center. Hit on the heel, and the Gear Effect spins it the other way, back towards center. The 1200 GE does this so well, it beat the 6 top-selling competitive irons for accuracy. Now available in stainless steel woods.
Lou,
Hiya!
do you do brake jobs?
Brakes, coffee breaks.
But can you guarantee a brake overhaul for 24,000 miles or 2 years?
2 years.
At Goodyear, when we overhaul your brakes, we back our good work with a written guarantee. A guarantee that's got our good name on it. Now, who else can give you that?
2 years? Give me a break.
For auto service that's guaranteed, come up to Goodyear.
This is the leader, Tom Watson, at the 12th hole, the par 5, his 4th shot. Well, Tom Watson has been here before. Beautifully played.
Jack, that's one of the best shots I've ever seen. If people could only, I mean, they'll always talk about his shot at 17 last year. Again, this is a green like we just saw 10 is. And to get that close to the hole is an absolutely beautiful golf shot.
Those kind of shots win U.S. Open championships. Let's look at it again.
Now that's about 70 feet from where this flag is.
Now he has a very, very delicate putt, but he's got a chance anyway to hold par here. This is live again with Larry Nelson up at the 13th. A birdie here to put him within 1 shot of Tom. Oh, the heartache of it. Ballesteros from the very front of the green, and look at this. Marvelous touch. Oh, hold up, hold up. And Seve will have that for par. Larry Nelson made par, as Ballesteros' ball didn't stop. Jack, this is Hal Sutton for a birdie. Hal is at +2, and he's playing at the 15th, +3 now. Goes back to +2. Nice putt for Hal Sutton. Now we're told that Sutton now is +1. And 4 shots off the lead in this darkening afternoon. The thing that Peter mentioned earlier, Dave, is that Ballesteros had not taken advantage. Every time that Watson has paused for a moment with a bogey, he has bogeyed also.
Well, he put himself there at 12, the hole that we see now. I told Jim when we were in commercial, if he gets this down in 2, it will be a miracle, because from where he was, that was I mean, if you can believe it, 15 feet or 20 feet past the hole, whatever he is, that's as good as he could do. And don't forget, Watson has a little putt from that side of the hole.
He sure does.
If he happens to miss it, may go right where Sevy's is. This caused by the fact he hit that iron in the rough on his second shot.
Well, he boldly went for it. He needed to. And he's not in it yet. Oh. Indication of how Sevy is feeling, and understandably so. All right, Watson now. Two different tournaments here from the front nine and the back nine.
Well, believe me, Jack, if he doesn't hit the hole here, I mean, this is one where if you just see daylight, you start bringing the club back forward, because this is going to take off all on its own. What Sam Snead say here once, he marked his dime slipped when he put it down.
The dime started to move, yeah.
Not surprising. You can't hit it for... Can't really try to make that little putt in that if you hit it too hard, you go right where Sevy's did. And all touch. Just get it outside the hole and miss.
And here is the beneficiary of that. Larry Nelson at the 14th.
Oh, you love it, Larry. You love it. You love it, baby. Go for it.
Ed Snead.
Jack, he's right in perfect position. I think the way he's played today has been unbelievable.
Yeah.
I just recounted his round, and I don't think he's missed a putting surface except at the first hole when he was about a foot off the green. And then in a U.S. Open, I think you've got to count that as a green hit.
Certainly do, Ed. Ballesteros, a bogey there at 12. A bogey for Tom Watson at 12. And so now Watson leads, but not by as much as he did before. And Larry Nelson in pursuit. One shot between Tom Watson and Larry Nelson. As Ballesteros now slips into black figures for the first time today. Gil Morgan and Calvin Peete in between at even par. As we're looking down now at the 14th hole where Larry Nelson is, right in the fairway, waiting to hit his second shot. Here is our leaderboard. It has changed, and we'll be back. We're going to stay right here as long as we can keep this thunderstorm away. So far, we've been able to avoid it, although the clouds are very dark gray. Tom Watson on the 13th tee, the 185-yard par 3. Here's a little bit of the western Pennsylvania sky. And it's thunderstorm time in old PA. Looking back at that very distinctive clubhouse. The 9th hole and the green and the putting green. Now the eagle squint of Tom Watson. A one-shot lead now as things begin to tighten up. There's that ridge on the right that Peter Alice mentioned a little bit ago on this green that if you fool around with that, you're in a lot of trouble. Right at that ridge. That's the ridge we talked about. That'll be an interesting putt, David.
It certainly will be, Jack. I tried that a couple of weeks ago. That's like a little foxhole in there. Ooh. To put up over the hill, and then it's good drop from there. Once about 5 feet in front of him, from there on is downhill. Be very fast.
move ahead now to the 14th, and Calvin Pete. Ed Sneed?
Jack, he's got about 125 yards to the hole, and he's in the light rough. It's going to be difficult to stop the ball real well, I think, coming out of that line. It looks like a pretty good shot.
Oh, marvelous shot.
That's a beautiful shot.
Oh, it's getting better, Ed. Even as we talk, it gets better. He's in there for another birdie putt. That would put him in red figures at 1 under. Jack, I wouldn't have thought he was too used to playing out of the rough.
Yeah,
He's
that's right.
not in there enough to play those kind of shots.
Scandalous of him.
Larry's got just about the same distance, maybe a little less, 118 or 20 yards. I'm sure he'll be using a pitching wedge.
Nelson and Pete just one ahead of Watson and Ballesteros, and there's his shot. Ladies and gentlemen, we're almost at the point of having co-leaders. What a magnificent golf shot under pressure for Larry Nelson.
Tough little dude playing right there.
The game is on.
And another thing, Jack, he's usually, when he gets in front, is when he's won his tournaments. So you let him get the bit in his teeth, and Tom's going to have his hands full.
Oh, my. Let's take another look at this, David. Marvelously controlled swing, and everything was right, the club and everything.
Whew. It's just great to see golf played like this. I can't imagine how well these guys play.
Wow. This is young Larry Nelson, who had 33 on the front. After a 65 yesterday. Even from this height, you can see some of the ridges in this green. Here's our leaderboard at the moment. Tom Watson has a very difficult putt here. Talking with William Campbell, the president of the USGA.
He looks very close to the fringe there, Jack. What he may have been asking was, am I on or off the green, which would mean whether he can mark it and then clean it, which is, when in doubt, ask, just to see where you are. And if there's not an official, you ask one of your playing competitors with you, on or off.
Now, where does he aim this putt?
Yeah, Jack.
No, but I mean, there is that.
He's got the first part of it is fairly straight. Then it should break. It should break a little to his right coming off that hill, and then back to the left up by the hole. Again, speed is so important here.
This is Calvin Pete for a birdie at the 14th. Oh, my.
This man would ever get a putting lesson from a George Lowe or somebody, Jack. There's no telling what he might shoot.
Shoot 57. Well, par, but disappointment. He remains at even as we watch Tom Watson now.
He must be off the green, Jack, because he's leaving the flag in unattended. Now, the ball went to the right. Now, it should go back to the left in here.
Wasn't that a great putt?
Have to have an awful lot of imagination on these greens as to what they're going to do.
It's like that putt he made at where? 14 last year at Pebble in the last round? But here's a man who can tie for the lead with this putt. He makes it. Larry Nelson and Tom Watson, co-leaders.
So, the United States Open Championship is closer than ever as Tom Watson and Larry Nelson are co-leaders.
Today, the landscape of investment opportunities spreads far and wide. But there is one place they grow in all varieties to suit every kind of investor. At Merrill Lynch, we've brought together a profusion of financial services to nurture all kinds of investment needs. And it is the skill and care with which we tend them that makes us what we are. Merrill Lynch, a breed apart.
A diamond, a miracle. Every diamond is rare, but a diamond of a carat or more is only 1 in a million. And like love, becomes more precious with time. The diamond solitaire, born from the earth, reborn on a woman. An extraordinary diamond of a carat or more. Show the world you couldn't have made it without her.
Be sure to watch the half-hour comedy hour Tuesday nights at 8, 7 Central Mountain. What do you mean I still have 3 seconds left?
Watch this, Mr. Watson.
Very good, Joan. I like to help youngsters with their golf. But when it comes to the stock market, I'm the one who needs help. So I go to E.F. Hutton. I tell them what I want, and they tell me how to do it. Sometimes you need all the help you can get.
When E.F. Hutton talks, people listen.
When it comes to golf, think Springbrook. They have the largest selection of pro-line equipment in all of Western New York, and it's at discount prices. With names like Wilson, McGregor, Ping, Titleist, and more. Another big plus, Springbrook will computer balance your clubs for the best results. Indoor and outdoor ranges give you a chance to try your new sticks out. Plus, Springbrook also has a complete line of sportswear. So this year, swing with Springbrook. We're on Seneca Street in Elma.
Channel 7, Buffalo.
Back again at the U.S. Open, where we have a dead heat going for the U.S. Open Championship between Tom Watson and Larry Nelson. 2 American touring professionals. Watson going after his 8th major championship. Nelson, well, he has won. He won the PGA Championship in 1981 in his home state of Georgia. Cal Peete and Gil Morgan have some chance. Not much. They'd have to get very, very hot. Ballesteros has fallen back to 1 over. On the 14th hole, Tom Watson, 360-yard par 4. And he's in the first cut, nestled down a bit. But what do you think, Bob Rossberg?
Well, it doesn't look too bad, but again, Ballesteros just, he put his in the rough also, you know, and Tom is not hitting it quite as good as he did the front 9. I don't know whether the tension is mounting or what, but he just has hit a couple of wayward shots, and he certainly didn't hit any except the iron at the first hole.
Larry Nelson now on the 15th hole, 453-yard par 4.
Isn't it wonderful how they keep that good tempo, Jim? I mean,
It really is.
He knows where he is. He knows he's got a chance to win the Open. And no fast swings now.
Nope. Same tempo. Watson on the left, Nelson on the right. We can put them head-to-head for you. We'll be doing that as they come down the stretch. Should there be a tie, it will not be sudden death. There will be a playoff tomorrow at 18 holes, and we'll be on the air 4 to 5:30 Eastern Time. A few drops of rain have begun to fall here at 18 as Watson walks up with Bill Campbell, the president of the USGA, one of the fine amateur golfers of all time. Gil Morgan now for a par. Morgan at even par, remember, tied with Cal Peete for 3rd place behind the co-leaders. There, the umbrellas have appeared. That's at 18. Is it raining out on the golf course?
It is. It definitely is starting to rain, and there's big clap of thunder, lightning quite a ways away, but it looks like it's coming this way. We've kind of dodged it all day, Jim.
Yep.
But I don't think we're going to dodge this one.
Well, if that lightning gets anywhere near, we'll hear a siren, and the USGA will stop play until it goes away again.
I'll hear it from the clubhouse, Jim.
Yes, you and I. All right, the par for Gilmore, going to keep him at even par for the championship. He's 2 under on today's round. So Watson has seen his lead completely disappear. Morgan looking at the sky, Watson looking at the sky, and both with good reason. We had a terrible thunderstorm here that included hailstones on Friday. Unfortunately, 2 spectators were marginally struck by lightning, if that's the correct phrase. In other words, they're all right. They were taken to the hospital, one released immediately and the other released later. Very fortunate circumstance, and some of the golfers had to take refuge in drainage ditches. David Graham and Hale Irwin and Bobby Watkins said they were utterly terrified for half an hour.
Well, you should be.
Yeah.
Because if that hits you, you're usually dead, and you should get into a depression, whether it's a bunker or a ditch or whatever. Sevy's second shot here at 14.
Yeah.
It runs a little. Nope. It's soft.
Just a bit more, but he's off of the putting surface. Started the day 1 under. He's now 1 over, 2 over on today's round. However, he has put to rest during this championship, certainly, the thought that he cannot play in the U.S. Open.
Well, it was just a question of time and discipline, and it seems now that he has the maturity and discipline to have a game plan and stick by it.
Watson.
He shot's a little right.
Ooh, boy. Kicking in.
Good bounce.
Yep. So, he's all right as the ball continues to move and move as it does at Oakmont. So they continue to move along, but you see the umbrellas everywhere. Cal Pete now, gee, what a big birdie that would have been for him. He is now on the 15th hole at even par, 4 shots out of the lead.
Got about 225 to the pin.
Okay, Ed Snead.
Looked as though it started a little right, Ed.
I can't see it right
Stayed
now.
right.
Okay.
It's in the bunker. Yeah.
Yeah, it landed to the right.
Yeah, it's in the sand, Ed.
You feel that's a hard shot, Ed, when that ball is below your feet like Calvin had then? It almost always gets away to the right on you.
Well, it really does, and the wind is coming a little bit from the right, which actually helps the guys a little bit. It's into them a bit from the right, but when the ball's below your feet and you're 220 yards from the hole, it's a tough shot.
Now, Gil Morgan on the 16th tee, par 3, 228 yards long. If he's going to get any more birdies, this would be the place to do it. Well, 17 also is birdieable.
Well, to have any chance, of course, that's, oh, what a good shot there.
Yep.
He has to make a couple of birdies and then hope that the other 2, Larry and Tom, have a couple of bogeys, because he doesn't have enough room here to get to 4 under unless he holds out the shot from the fairway.
Larry Nelson. It's on tape. Nelson's second shot on 15. Okay. Anytime you see it hit on that surface, that's good.
Again.
Oh, look at this.
This little man is really tough, I tell you.
He's putting that ball close to the pin, very much the way Johnny Miller did back in 1973.
And much the same as Tom did on the front nine.
Tom Watson is concerned. He says he has seen some lightning, and he wants to suspend play.
Well, that is Frank Hannigan of the USGA. He's on the radio with Bill Campbell there and the other USGA officials, and a competitor can request a suspension of play. In fact, he can unilaterally stop play, can he not?
Right. If the player feels that he is endangered out on the golf course, the rules say that he may suspend play, and he is heading for the locker room.
And didn't Ben Crenshaw do that at Medina a few years ago?
No, that was Watson, too, at Medina.
Was it? Well,
yeah, on the first tee.
I remember Ben running off that 17.
Watson beat Crenshaw step, I believe, in that race.
So very intelligently, Tom Watson has said, we got to stop.
Now, if Larry Nelson wants to continue and finish putting at 15, is he allowed to do that, Frank?
Yeah, even when play is suspended, there goes the siren.
There's the siren.
Now, what Nelson has is the option. He can either mark his ball and go off the golf course, come back and putt it when play resumes, or he may opt to putt, whichever he may feels more comfortable doing.
So it's just short of 5:30 here outside Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and play has been suspended in the final round of the United States Open Championship. And at what a moment, with Tom Watson and this man, Larry Nelson, flat even, not that many holes left to play, but they're the decisive ones. Can this change a man's attitude, his tempo, his feeling of the complete round that he plays, Dave?
I don't feel it. A number of times during the year, during your career, you get stopped like this. Now, if it were me, what I would like to do is putt this putt. Go ahead and get this out of the way. Don't take cover. What if it rains a lot? Now you come back and you wonder whether the greens have changed their speed or whatever. You know the feel right now. Go ahead and putt it, and then let's go in the clubhouse. You could be thinking about the shots that you have to hit at that par 3 16. Another player may do it another way. That's just the way I feel. I'd rather get that out of the way right now.
Okay. There's no downpour here. It's raining very lightly. Ed, how is it raining out there? I know it's lightly at 18. Is it still fairly light rain out there?
Well, it's not the rain so much as the lightning. That's.
I understand. But
well,
I mean,
it is. It's barely sprinkling out here, but we have seen a number of bolts of lightning in the distance, and I'm sure that the players are very apprehensive about that.
Well, those of you who play this golf can't be reminded too many times, if you're ever out there, siren for you. Too many people in this country every year that way.
Another thing, Jim, we're at a very high point here. This golf course, you can't tell it, but we're, you know, probably quite some distance above the river. So we're at a very high point here, and lightning here could be dangerous.
Of course, a few years ago in Western Open at Butler National, it was Lee Trevino and Jerry Hurd and Bobby Nichols. This is for a 4, by the way.
Get in there, Cal.
So Cal Pete will go to the locker room to wait with the others with the knowledge that it's beginning to slip away. Bogey the first 2 holes, fought his way back to even par, had an opportunity to go 1 under, but he missed that one, and now Cal is 1 over.
Yeah, you see that happen a lot. To get off to a bad start, then get it back and have a chance at 14, and really a very makeable putt. Not make it, the air goes out of you. You play a hole like 15, which is difficult enough to par under ideal conditions.
Oops.
And there was a very
bolt.
close flash there.
Larry Nelson shot 75 the first day, 73 the second, then roared with a 65. Look at Gil Morgan here.
Gil saw it too.
Oh, did you hear that?
I'd kind of like to go into the clubhouse, James.
I am with you. Larry has decided to putt this birdie attempt, however.
Big
this
putt.
could put him in the lead all by himself for the first time in the tournament, but no. But no. He will also go to the locker room after he holds that out, tied for the lead with Tom Watson, who is long gone from the golf course. So there you have it. Nelson and Watson tied for the lead, and play is suspended.
Now, they can't start another hole. That's another point. Once you finish the hole that you're on, that's it. You may not restart or restart. You may not go to another hole.
Now, this is on tape. This was Gil Morgan.
Just ahead of Larry and him at 16.
That's right. Birdie attempt. Gil Morgan, who started the day 2 over par, at this point, even, 2 under for the day. And with the eyesight of a good golfing optometrist, Gil Morgan rolled it into the hole. A birdie that puts him 1 under for this championship. He's just 3 shots out of the lead. He's got a chance.
He's got a very good chance now.
Yeah.
He needs to make 1 more, and then obviously you got to pull for yourself. You got to pull for the other guys to make a couple bogeys or something.
That's right. Gil Morgan won the first 2 tournaments of this year, of 1983. Playing very well out there. There you see the board that the people at 18 look at. And there's our own. 3 men under par figures, Watson, Nelson, and Morgan. Then Ballesteros 1 over. Cal Pete, they appear to be out of reach. Hal Sutton, Lanny Watkins. Play suspended once again. We'll stay with it and see what happens at Oakmont. These 2 will fight for the U.S. Open Golf Championship on a dank Monday in Oakmont, Pennsylvania. Tom Watson of Kansas City, the defending champion, is in a tie for the lead with Larry Nelson of Georgia. Why are they here on a Monday morning? Well, because of this. Late yesterday afternoon, torrential rains, lightning, and thunder suspended play in the Open Championship with the leaders still on the course. They've been brought back to the course to resume play and to finally determine the U.S. Open champion of 1983. ABC Sports presents a national championship conducted by the United States Golf Association. Today, from the Oakmont Country Club in Oakmont, Pennsylvania, it's the conclusion of the final round of the 83rd United States Open Golf Championship. Well, here's where we left them. When rain suspended play about 5:30 yesterday afternoon, Tom Watson and Larry Nelson tied for the lead in the U.S. Open, 3 strokes ahead of Gil Morgan, and all of them still on the golf course. The figure on the right of your screen tells you how many holes each golfer had completed. Let's take a look at the weather. It is still a very important factor. Never mind the temperature and humidity. Look at the chance of rain. 70% again today, but we hope to get it in, and it'll probably take less than an hour and a half. Hello, I'm Jim McKay, reporting from our ABC commentary position behind the 18th green. What we're going to try to do is finish what we started here, it seems, a long time ago. Final round of the U.S. Open. As I speak to you, it's just before 10 o'clock in the morning. They're going to try to finish this morning. Should there be a playoff then, they could get it in this afternoon if it doesn't rain. Let's bring in our expert on the sport, Dave Marr. Despite the worst ravages of nature, the course here at Oakmont continues to resist, doesn't it?
Oh, it sure does, Jim. And when we left it yesterday, it was really a mess. I talked to Paul Latshaw, the green superintendent, and his crew has been here since 4:30 this morning preparing the golf course. Now, the rough is going to be a lot worse than it was when we left it yesterday simply because of the wet weather. The greens, on the other hand, will hold better, and Paul told me with the stent meter, they measure 11 feet, which is the indicator of how fast they are. And, Jim, that is really slick. So the greens haven't lost any of their treacherous speed.
Not at all. Jack Whitaker will be with us again today. What about the individuals? How do you see it, Jack?
Well, you know, there's an old adage that the first fellow in a situation like this that completes his round and posts his score has a slight advantage. And I expect Larry might be in that position since he's playing ahead of Tom. Quite simply, he has less holes to get in trouble. But if you're a positive thinker, you would say yes, and he has less chance to make birdie, too.
No question about that. Let's see where they are on the golf course right now. Gil Morgan and Ray Floyd on 17, Pete and Nelson on 16, Watson and Ballesteros on the 14th green. As you can see, Ed Snead is with the Pete Nelson group, Bob Rosberg with the Watson Ballesteros group. Let's go to play. Well, that was the siren. We heard it yesterday to suspend play, and now it makes play resume. Nelson on the left on the 16th tee. Watson on the 14th green. He lies 2 on the par 4 hole. Looks like Larry's going to hit before Tom putts. 16th, 228-yard par 3. There it is. Dark, overcast skies, a dank atmosphere.
Same conditions as yesterday, seemingly. And, Jim, if Larry should knock this on the green, I would think he has the advantage here because he has hit one of the toughest par 3s. Tom still has to putt at 14 and has that tough 15th hole to play.
Going with the wood.
He's very good left to right player. Probably a 3 or 4 wood, and this with the pin in the right side of the green. Good kind of shot for him to have. Good swing.
There it is.
He's on the green.
On the putting surface. Right, Ed. What was the mood out there, Ed, before they began?
Well, Larry seemed pretty loose, amazingly so for being in this situation. I thought he was in a very good frame of mind.
Ed, what is your feeling about what I said there, that Larry would have the advantage? We're back at 14 now, but just an opinion there.
Well, you're right. I think he has put it on the green. He's got a long, tough putt, but at least he's averted disaster at this point.
Okay, now Tom Watson, the defending champion in the U.S. Open. Tied for the lead. Putting for a birdie, but that's some putt for a birdie. As Dave mentioned at the top, remember, despite the torrential rains, the greens are still reading just about as fast as yesterday.
What putt do you think he went out and practiced this morning?
Good point.
He didn't practice many 6-footers, I don't think.
No.
Watch how fast this is still.
That's a, ooh, what a good putt.
And yet, look at that. Well, reasonable, but they do keep trickling by.
I think that's just fine. You have all night to think about that. I mean, the things, the gremlins that must run through your mind while you're tossing and turning about what am I going to do with that first putt.
Counting stimp meters as he went to sleep, no doubt. It's just a different kind of tension, isn't it? It's utterly different than the Sunday finish with the sun shining and a great crowd cheering.
No, it'd be very hard to get the same rhythm and the same feeling that they had on Sunday afternoon.
Well, he's all right. I would think
good...
that was very difficult to do, to start out putting.
You don't usually start out putting.
Right, you know. But Tom Watson remains co-leader at 4 under for the championship. Larry Nelson, remember, is on the 16th green.
We're back at Oakmont as we try and wrap up this 1983 United States Open. Here is the 15th, one of the more difficult holes on a very difficult golf course, a long par 4. Tom Watson.
Yeah. Stay right, Paul. Get down. Yeah.
Bob Rosberg, can you pick it up?
It is 280 yards exactly on the fly, and the ball never moved when it hit the fairway.
Fairways
not too bad a drive, first one.
No roll today, huh?
No, this ball just almost plugged.
Larry Nelson at the 16th, par 3. Long putt, Ed, about what?
Jack, he must have 60 feet to the hole. It doesn't have tremendous break to it. It should break a little bit to his right, but he's got at least 60 feet.
Just get me down in 2, huh? Oh, my, look at this putt. Ladies and gentlemen!
You've got to be kidding me.
Oh, my goodness. Right in the heart. How many 60-footers do you see being made on the last day? There's the new leader, 5 under par, Larry Nelson. Let's take another look. Reminiscent of Watson last year when he chipped in at 17. Look at it.
I don't blame him either. I mean, your first putt of the day and you drain it from 60 feet.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a man that doesn't usually show much emotion either.
The exaltation of Larry Nelson.
Yeah.
Oh,
my.
So there's the leaderboard with the new look. Larry Nelson, for the first time, has taken the lead in this championship. And I'm sure Watson heard the roar.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my, what dramatics here. A 60-foot birdie putt at 16 for Larry Nelson as we go back out there to the 15th. Bob Rosberg, did you see any reaction on Tom Watson when that roar went up?
Well, Tommy just came up and asked me what it was. And I hated to even tell him, but
Chief.
It was a sort of a grim look when he found out what happened. Yeah, he just said, well, that's the way it goes. But, you know, it's got to be an awful jolt to somebody to have that happen after he hit such a great drive.
Now, will this make him be a little more bold, do you think?
Well, I think he's going to be bold anyway. I don't think he's looking for a tie. I think he's, of course, now he is, but I don't think he was when we started.
Ballesteros. Safely on. It's a tremendously large green. It's about as big as an ice hockey rink. I guess the pin there looks to be about the center third, huh?
Yes, he's, Tom's about 180 85. I would think a 5-iron, a good strong 5-iron. Going right.
Go.
It's over with Sevy's ball.
So safely on the green at 15, Tom Watson, who now trails Larry Nelson, as we watch Gil Morgan now for this birdie attempt at 17.
One time, come on.
Oh.
And with that, Jack, I think a realistic chance of winning, unless the wheels would just absolutely fall off of Larry or Tom.
Good try, though. Nice. Oh, yes. Bold putt there. So Larry Nelson here with early Monday morning dramatics. A 60-foot birdie putt on 16th hole has taken the lead over Tom Watson by 1.
Cards, par 4. It's a dogleg left, uphill at one time in history. Some people could drive this green, but they kind of prevented that now, haven't they, Dave?
They changed the tee and put it back in that slot. You see the old tee just to the left.
Number of months.
Left part of your screen. So it does take that away, and a lot of players use an iron off of here because the farther you drive it from this angle, the more the fairway dogleg. So we'll see whether Larry goes with it. Yes, he's got an iron. In other words, the farther you drive, the more you bring the rough into play, and it's a long iron and then a short iron into the green.
Larry Nelson now leading the U.S. Open. He had rounds of 75 and 73. He was 7 shots off the lead after 2 rounds. He only made the cut by 3 shots.
Tom has his work cut out for him.
He does, however, after this, have 3 more holes to play, and at this point he must think of them as opportunities for a birdie because he's a stroke behind.
Well, that was great when he hit the fairway at 15. I mean, I hate to say, you know, it's great to hit the fairway, but doggone it, tough driving holes here, and you know that if you knock it in the rough, your chances of making par are slim indeed. Now, these are the things he's so good at, though. He's one of the, he makes a lot of long putts. That's going fairly fast, it looks like.
That one left for the par to stay 1 shot behind the remarkable Larry Nelson. Unless Larry meets some sort of disaster in the last 2 holes, he is going to establish a new record for score on the final 2 rounds of the U.S. Open.
I'm sure he doesn't even know that.
Or care.
Ed, about what club would he have there, do you feel?
Well, he's got about 155 to the hole. I would have to say he's probably going with a 7-iron. I don't know if he mishit his tee shot or laid back a little farther intentionally, but he had quite a long shot. And safely on the green.
Yep. Going back on him, though. Now Watson must make. And does.
Man, that's a good touch.
Time after time. You would think that would erode the nerves after a while.
Eventually it will. As Old Man River grabs you.
Yes. A philosophical Dave Marr on a dank Monday morning in Oakmont, Pennsylvania. Cal Pete. Oh, what a lovely shot.
How many times has that man just put it right by the flag during this week?
Sure has. Mr. Straight of the game of golf. Ballesteros made a bogey. So that puts Seve to 2 over for the championship, 3 over for today. So it's still Larry Nelson by a single stroke over Tom Watson. They're going to battle it out to the final hole.
The 16th hole, where Larry Nelson took the lead in this tournament, is now Tom Watson's turn. 228 yards, par 3, and an iron.
Well, he's a little stronger than Larry, Jack, and but he's got to get all over that iron.
Oh,
how about that shot?
Oh,
huh?
my. Oh, let's take a look at it, Dave.
Oh, he's just got such a beautiful setup here, and he's swinging so well. Now, the great thing about Tom, good full turn. Look at the shoulders, and look at the left knee pointed behind the ball. Now, as he starts down, you just watch that weight get back, and pay particular attention to his right heel and his right foot. It may even drag a little here with the lateral move. See that? And just through the ball. You talk about strong. When I said he had to get all over it, I don't know if he could hit that an inch farther.
This is Gil Morgan now at the 18th fairway for his second shot.
Thing to do here, Jack, take enough club.
It's heavy air today, and that looks enough. How do you do? That's the nicest shot as I've seen come in 18 all week. All right, now we have a long putt at 17 by the leader. Look at this. Had it right on line again.
That's very good. You don't want to get too cute there.
Cal Pete, remember, a lovely second shot up here at 17. Now this putt for the bird. It's happened to him quite a bit, hasn't it, this week?
It sure has, and with a lot of seemingly good-looking putts where they just go by the edge. If he ever learns to to make those, Jack, he may run everyone else off the tour.
And he remains tied with Ballesteros now, 4th place. You know, Larry and Tom are exactly the same height and weight, and yet one is stronger than the other.
Tom looks like a little Popeye. His arms are much bigger.
Yeah. They're both 5'9", weigh about 160 pounds. Here's Larry now for the par at 17. Yes. And off to the 72nd hole for Larry Nelson. As down at the 18, the applause for Ray Floyd and Gil Morgan. Ballesteros. What's going, Rossi, what's any problem?
I'm not over there.
All right.
Jack. I think Sevy's just trying to get out of the way, you know.
Yeah, it's a very tough morning for him, isn't it?
Very, very difficult, and like you said, very difficult for Ray Floyd. And you know, it's Sevy just saw it go away yesterday, and I'm sure he just doesn't want to bother Tom, and he just wants to let him play.
Here's a graphic of our 18th hole here. Terrific looking hole at Oakmont. 456 yards downhill and trapped magnificently.
And as I said earlier, Jack, it's been the hardest fairway to hit. Made a little easier today because of the softness. If the ball is not likely to run, this fairway slopes quite a bit from left to right. First few rounds, if you were in the right half of the fairway, you stood a good chance of being in the right-hand rough.
And up to the tee. Does he have an iron? No, he doesn't. No. Well, they like it on the tee.
That is terrific stuff there.
Dead center, isn't it? How far has he got now, Ed?
Jack, I would say he has about 215. I'll check when I have a chance to go out there.
Now, Tom Watson, who put that marvelous tee shot into this par 3 16th hole, and turnabout would be fair play, wouldn't it?
It sure would. Larry may not think so.
No.
But, or the Georgia contingent, those dogs. But if you had to have a man putting for you, Jack, this might be the man you'd choose for your life. No, it's gone.
Yeah, it's gone to the left.
He still has one,
Yes.
about like he had it 15.
This is the 18th green. Gil Morgan. Beautiful second shot in here, and he has this now for a birdie. He has third place all to himself now at 1 under. Didn't take the break he saw, did it?
No, and there's not a break there.
No.
That's what it is. And players all week have made that mistake.
There's Seve for par. It's just so hard to keep concentration.
Oh, sure. He's, you know, the tournament's gone when he thought he probably had the best chance to win.
The second bogey this morning for Ballesteros, who goes now to +3 and leaves Calvin Pete by himself in 4th place. All right, Tom Watson for par, and a not too easy putt, despite the length of it. He's had 2 of these already this morning, hasn't he?
That's, get your oatmeal churning if you leave yourself enough of those.
All right. And he goes now to the 17th, where, as we go down to Raymond Floyd at 18 for birdie. Raymond at 8 over. So Raymond Floyd finishes 8 over. I have to change that now. That was a bogey here at 18, so that makes Raymond Floyd at +9. Gil Morgan for par. So Gil Morgan finishes 1 under in 3rd place.
Jack, that's a marvelous 4 rounds because a lot of people didn't think anyone would shoot under par, and he's done it, and still not going to win. Ed, about how long a shot does Larry have there?
Dave, he's a little farther than I expected. He's got probably about 225 to 30 to the hole, the pin being on the back. It's a long shot, and it's uphill. He's probably got a 4-wood.
Good lie? Good lie, Ed?
It's a good lie. The ball, again, is a little bit below his feet. He's going to have to make a good swing.
Well, I feel that this kind of shot is his shot, though. Wood that he can cut, and what's going to happen to this shot?
It's going a little right, though, isn't it?
Beautiful shot. It's on the green, isn't it?
It just Well, it's close, Ed. I can't tell from here. The cut is so low here. Definitely a putt.
At the 17th tee, Tom Watson. About how far will he have, Rossi?
Well, he's well back. This hole is playing quite
Very long,
today.
yes.
He's probably 135, 140 yards.
They've been hitting wedges there all week for the second shot.
Well, the air is awful heavy out here.
It's about like San Francisco, Rossi.
Here's Cal Pete's second shot at 18, doing it the old-fashioned way. Isn't that lovely? And the leaderboard shows Larry Nelson just on the fringe here at 18, one stroke ahead of Tom Watson, and we'll return to Oakmont for the conclusion in a moment.
Is Larry Nelson walking his way to victory, coming up onto the 18th green of the Oakmont Country Club? It may be, and the crowd is welcoming him as if he is a winner. One stroke ahead, the 35-year-old from Marietta, Georgia. A very reasonable-sized gallery here today. I couldn't have believed anybody be out here. It's still overcast, might have rained, and these people started gathering around 8 o'clock this morning.
It was misting when I walked out of the motel, and the traffic wasn't near as heavy, but nevertheless, they've got a nice gallery for a day.
Cal Pete, who's played so well in this championship. However, Cal is 2 over on his final round. That's not quite good enough. He's 2 over for the championship in 4th place, all by himself, behind Nelson, Watson, and Morgan. There it is. Ballesteros, another stroke back, along with Hal Sutton, who finished yesterday, fortunately for him.
Well, he pointed out he wanted to, in case they went back to play, with so much rain, he didn't want to hit it in any of those bunkers where you couldn't get the water out in time. As we said, you have the opportunity to play out, but
now, Tom Watson, when he came to the next to last hole of last year's U.S. Open, it looked like he was just about running out of chances. And then the chip shot that won him his first Open championship. Well, he's on 17 again. And again, it looks like he's almost running out of options.
Ball's going a little right.
And long.
Oh, there it is in the bunker. Yep. That may do it. We can't say it yet because he's got 18 ahead of him. Knowing Watson, he's liable to put that up very close. Now, Larry Nelson.
And this man has a tough putt. There's no cinch for par here.
He's got to come uphill.
It's very slow coming that way. Maybe the slowest putt at Oakmont.
Oh, get going.
If you remember, in '78, Jerry Pate 3-putted that hole. Looked like he had the best chance to win. We keep talking about Watson and Mahaffey and that. That is no surprise because you've played 17 fastest greens maybe that you've ever played, and 18, that putt from below down there is really, really slow.
So this man has to be the toughest putt of his life. And this man has more of a chance than he may think he has at this point. Tom Watson.
First, he better make 4 at 17.
He'll have a delicate bunker shot facing him. That's right.
Plus, you wonder the consistency of the sand. How wet will it be? Will it be changed from the way it's been for 4 days?
You've made that point before, that wet sand can be extremely unpredictable.
The ball comes out a lot faster, and he has a very short bunker shot there, so how do you get up enough nerve to hit it easy?
Cal Pete had rounds of 75, 68, 70. If he should make this, he'd have a 72.
He's played so well. Short. That's just really slow going up that hill. It's hard for the players to believe.
Now, Watson on 17.
like he has a good lie.
Waste no time with it. Look at this.
What a shot. What a marvelous golf shot. Little does he know
how good a chance he had.
Now, because I feel that Tom had to think, I've got to make a birdie here, because birdie at 18 is certainly not out of the question, but this is the easier, by far, of the two holes, 17.
Cal Pete is going to putt, not Cal Putt is going to Pete.
And that's so that Larry can have center stage.
Okay. Calvin Pete, age 39, who took up golf at age 23, has finished a marvelous U.S. Open. 2-over par round of 73 after earlier rounds of 75, 68, and 70. Another look at Watson's shot.
And he didn't take any time. He just holds that club up, breaks away quickly, and just a nice little blast, but keeps the club moving, Jim. That's what you have to do in a bunker shot. You've got to take that sand, and if you knock the sand out of the bunker, the ball comes out. And the result, very nice. Of course, he's got another one of those little Watson four-footers here that...
And how about this man, Larry Nelson? Let's see, how long would you say that is? Maybe 10? 9, 10 feet?
Well, it's a good 10.
Yeah.
And if he makes it, I just have to feel you would have to bet your life that he would be the winner. Not much break, Jim, and it is slow going there. Pushed it.
Well,
all they can do now is wait.
A bogey 5 for Larry Nelson. So he will finish the championship, the 72 holes, 4 under, with a final round of 67. Final rounds of 65 and 67 after 75, 74. What a 36 holes.
Around this golf course? I mean, around any golf courses, that would be great. But around here, open conditions, weather, all the things that go into it, U.S. Open. Well, now,
must make.
Must make. Pushed it.
Oh! And now he's got another one. That is not automatic. So, talk about ebbing and flowing. Nelson looked like a winner. Nelson looked like he was tie. Watson came out of trouble, and now Watson's in trouble.
Larry can't know that yet.
No?
Again, sanding his card, which he must do. Now, they may be telling him there.
Mm-hmm. He trails by 1 with 1 hole to play.
Well, you have to feel disheartened there because of all the holes on this particular course that you might feel you have a chance to birdie at 17, and to walk off of there with a 5 is really, I don't really know whether he pushed it or not. It just started seemingly to me to the right, and it was very firm, the way Tom putts, and it just caught the top of the hole, and away it goes.
Well, we were talking about those eroding your nerves after a while.
If you leave yourself enough of those, Vic Gezzi told me this a long time ago, you're going to miss one, no matter how good a putter you are. It's your nerves can't stand those 4- and 5-footers when you feel that they're playing for a prize this big.
Larry Nelson checking his scorecard. He, of course, is responsible for checking and seeing that it's correct. Seve Ballesteros, 3 over par now, 4 over for the day. We're seeing him again at the British Open very soon, and most of these fine players. But Seve's hopes for the fabled Grand Slam that nobody's ever achieved, the professional Grand Slam as they call it, have gone a glimmering for this year.
Yeah, I like Nicholas's comment about that. He said it is possible, but not probable.
I think that's right. Now Watson, he must make a birdie on the last hole to tie Larry Nelson and force a playoff. The hole, 456 yards, par 4. Well, he's taken step 1.
That's a big drive, too, Jim. Big drive there.
Rossi, that's one of the longer ones we've seen here, I think. So they're playing the final hole, perhaps, in the 1983 U.S. Open. Last chance for Tom Watson on the 18th. He must make a birdie to tie Larry Nelson and force a playoff for the U.S. Open Championship. There have been very few birdies here.
Good lie, Rossi.
He's got a perfect lie, David, and this is a 7-iron now. That's how far he drove it. Drove it 310 yards.
Wow.
Pulled it, though.
Oh, it's way over. Way over, into the crowd.
Jim, he is so hopped up, I think, that, I mean, that drive, you just can't believe how long that drive was. I thought he might go with an 8-iron. He only had a shot of about 150 yards. And,
well, he sure flew it.
Well, I think he tried to cut a 7 and got over the top of it is what happened, Jim. When you get over the top of it, you usually hit the most solid shots that you hit all day, but it's the worst shot you can possibly hit.
Guess what the situation is? He would have to hole a chip shot to tie. Does that sound familiar? From last year?
And they're moving some of the...
Yeah, the gallery ropes being moved. With almost anybody else, you would see Tom Watson coming up, but he is never discouraged.
That's the great thing about Watson or Ballesteros. When they're not known as the straightest drivers like a Calvin Peter or Larry Nelson, but they just go get it, find it, knock it up, keep going.
Even though it isn't over, this is the reception for the defending champion. Tom Watson, probably the finest player of the game in the world today and over the past 5 years or so. 4-time winner of the British Open, 1 U.S. Open, 2 Masters. Hasn't won the PGA yet. He'll be trying that later this summer at Riviera. Well, there is the ball. I don't know what that piece of cloth is that it's under. It looks like a blanket and a pad somebody's sitting on and an umbrella. And kind of ragged-looking dead grass there.
No, that's straw, Jim, that they put down
yeah.
because of the wet conditions just to keep it from being so muddy. Now, we'll see. He's obvious. He doesn't have to play it from under the blanket, but we'll get some information here in a minute from Frank Hannigan, sure, on exactly there. All right.
Well, the blanket, of course, is a movable obstruction, and he's removed it. If the ball had moved, he would have been required to replace it. It didn't move.
Okay. Frank, when you say replace it, would you replace it with a drop?
Or no, you could place it exactly on that spot.
With your
hand. Could see it. It wasn't atop the blanket as I saw it. It was resting aside the blanket.
Right.
Okay, Dave, let's examine the problem.
The problem is he has to chip it in. He doesn't have too much room, and it's downhill there. He has to carry it over, say, 20 feet of the taller rough.
Yep.
So much will depend on, does he have a good clean lie?
Should be a little hot coming out of that grass.
Yeah.
Y'all gonna have to move out of here.
PJ Boat, PJ Boat right there in the middle of the picture, the USGA, making sure things are in order. A quiet, please. It's Bill Campbell in the white cap, the president of the USGA, who's the referee of this final twosome.
I think Frank Hannigan has something to say about that. He's got some information from below.
Yes, Frank.
It looks to me as if Tom has an option that he is on. That is an area of unusual damage caused the other day by the vehicular and the spectator traffic on these terrible rainstorms. So he is going to have an option of either playing that ball as it lies or of
dropping it elsewhere without penalty, and that's what they're determining down there now. And Tom is examining his options. He may decide it's better to drop it. He may decide it's better to try it from the straw.
As a matter of fact, Frank, I can see a partly obliterated white line down there. Most of it's been washed away, but there's about 4 feet of, see a white line down there by that yellow cable or gallery rope?
Yes.
See on the left of the screen? Is that the remnant of a lined-off area?
See,
it may be.
You could pick up Watson and Boatwright right now.
Can I move the pine straw and drop it? What's this white line here for? Is that for the gallery?
Move the pine straw, lose the sediment, you have a problem with the ball.
What if I move the pine straw and just... you just move the pine straw here and drop it?
Well, I don't think this is it.
And I have to drop to a place where there's no pine straw?
Yeah. When you say so.
Local rule? I cannot take the, I could not remove the pine straw and then drop it there.
Then we would be changing the ground on our pay. I don't think we do that. You drop it? No.
Fine point, Frank Hannigan?
Yeah, very fine point. The pine straw has been put on atop this area that's ground under repair, just to give people footing. Watson is asking the officials if he can remove the pine straw, which now takes on the status of loose impediments, if you will. And you can't remove loose impediments and have your ball move.
Let's see if we can hear again.
I mean, I can remove this stuff right in here, right? I can move that here, like this, right?
That's
That right there over.
That's correct.
I can move like that.
Yeah.
You notice, too, Frank, that he had the ball marked there. I didn't see him do that. So if it had have moved when the blanket was moved, he knew exactly where it was. I didn't notice it.
Exactly what he had done there.
Larry Nelson looking on.
Can you blame him? See the coin just to the right, under the back of the ball there.
In the little V made by those 2 pieces of straw. Now the gallery rope being removed.
Yeah, that's just right. Thank you.
Long wait, Larry. Frank?
Yeah, so what he's doing now is taking relief under the ground under repair rule, which is the same as casual water, under Rule 32. He's going to drop at the nearest point where that condition no longer exists. That is, where there is no longer any of that pine straw.
And is not near the hole.
Exactly. And it looks like as though they have determined that point.
That was Larry Nelson standing with his wife, Gail, you saw a moment ago. He has checked his scorecard. There they are. Nice-looking couple, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, they're a nice couple, too. It's
2 children they have, Drew and Josh. Drew is 7 and Josh is 5. And Tom Watson is dropping.
That's
Took
okay.
a funny bounce against his heel.
That's okay. It touched him after it dropped.
Touched him after it hit the ground. Yes.
Right. Therefore, the drop is okay. If it hit him on the way down, then he would have been required to re-drop, but it didn't do that.
Interesting point too, Dave, that there's mud on that ball, and when he picked it up to drop it, he had to leave that there.
I just think it's grass. It's just a few little flecks of grass that it picked up there.
Yeah.
It's not going to affect it too much.
There it is. The point I was making, though, was that when he picked it up to drop it, he could not rub it in any way. Had to leave that stuff.
No, when he picked it up to drop it, he could clean the ball.
But he
now
clean
he
it?
can't. Right.
Okay. Well, complications over. The problem is simple.
It may be simple for Larry. A lot simpler for Larry than it is for Tom.
Has to go in the hole. Too hot.
Hold it. Hold it.
No, that's going all the way down to the front of the green. And Larry Nelson has won the United States Open Golf Championship at age 35. The touring professional from Marietta, Georgia, has won the national championship after trailing by 7 strokes at the end of 2 rounds. He shot marvelous rounds. In the last 2, a 65 and a 67 today, the lowest final 36 holes ever to win the Open.
And that's a record that was first set 51 years ago by Gene Sayers, and that record has been a long time, since tied by a number of people, including Dr. Kerry Middlecoff.
Tom Watson can make 5 here and still finish ahead of Gil Morgan. This is his 4th shot. Oh. Talk about finishing like a champion. Well, a par 4 on the final hole, but it isn't quite good enough. Tom Watson, by a single stroke, has lost his U.S. Open championship. We have seen play on this golf course the past 4 days, past 5 days, parts of 5 days. It's sometimes bordered on the unbelievable, considering the difficulty of the golf course. A final round of 69. Seve Ballesteros putting for a birdie on the final hole. Putting on a little show for the crowd, are they or are they not? Ballesteros now will move into a tie with Cal Peete for 4th place in the championship with a birdie on 18. Ballesteros started at 1 under par. He ends up at 2 over. A round of 74 today. Well, they got some reward for coming out early this morning. The crowd saw marvelous golf on the final holes by Larry Nelson and by Tom Watson. Congratulations from Seve for Larry. Now let's meet the champion with Jack Whittaker.
Larry, you said yesterday there'd probably be a mixture of tears and laughter, and Gail's crying here, aren't you, huh?
Yeah.
Tears of happiness, I'm sure. Joy. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I don't know. I don't really know what to say. I'm just tickled to death, and the only thing I can say, I guess, is just praise the Lord.
How about a 60-foot birdie putt at 16?
Well, I tell you, I get out there, and all I'm trying to do is knock the 4-wood on the green, and I didn't want to hit it quite that far left. And the only thing I was thinking about standing over the putt was just trying to get it close. And then when it went over the last little rise there, it looked like it was dead center, and it just went right in the middle of the hole. And, I think that was the most fun I had all day, was running towards the pin.
You looked like Tom Watson running last year at 17.
I think it was pretty much the same situation.
Yeah. And did you help him last night ease the nerves and the tension there, Gail? Huh?
Well, Larry was calm all night long, so there wasn't much to be done. He knew what he wanted to do, and that was just play good, solid golf and let the rest take care of itself.
Well, Larry, you broke an open record that's lasted for a long time, set by Gene Sarazen for the last 36 holes.
Well, I really like Gene. I can't, I really don't know what to say. I feel like I hit the ball well the last 2 days and putted pretty good by the putt I hit on 16, and I don't know, I'm just, right now I'm just kind of numb and just kind of happy that it's over. It's been a long 18 holes.
It'll take a while for it to sink in, but you're a marvelous Open champion. Congratulations.
Thank you, Jack. I appreciate it.
Jim?
There are the final standings in the United States Open of 1983. Again, let's go to Jack now with Tom Watson.
Tom finished like a champion.
Well, just one shot too few.
Well, up on 17, isn't that funny, that little 17th hole?
Well, I hit a bad second shot and hit a heck of a bunker shot, and then I got a little aggressive with the putt. But actually, I had a chance at the last hole. I had a bad iron shot in the last hole as well, and it was just, I just didn't play as well as Larry did. Larry played better than I did and won the championship.
But you seem to be so pumped up. You must have hit your drive at 18 over 300 yards, didn't you?
Well, I did hit it over 300 yards, but it didn't make any difference because I didn't hit the green, didn't have a good opportunity for birdie.
Yes, you didn't, but the putt, we'll remember the putt long after we forgot the bogey at 17.
Well, it was really kind of an anticlimax, the putt, but, I'm happy for Larry. Larry played very well the last 2 rounds, and he played like a champion. He deserves to be the U.S. Open champion in 1983.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay.
Back to you, Jim.
Well, once again, the 1983 U.S. Open champion is Larry Nelson of Georgia. Travel arrangements made through and a promotional fee paid by United Airlines. United flies to Tokyo from more top business centers with 3-class Royal Pacific service.